series. It is a global competitive 40K circuit that ranks players based on their results in online games, including events run by Tactical Tortoise and many other communities. At the end of each biannual season, the top 16 players in the series are given the opportunity to play for the title of Season Champion and become the greatest virtual 40K player in the world in this very event, the Seasonal Invitational Tournament. With over 400 players and dozens of tournaments competing on the ladder in Season 1, T5S2 is now one of the largest and most competitive series in online Warhammer and shows no signs of slowing down. So what are you waiting for? Visit tts40k.com to view live standings, join the community Discord server, and get information on upcoming events and tournaments. There is glory to be won on this virtual battlefield, Commander. Do you have what it takes to compete? Want to get involved in T5S2 or events run by Tactical Tortoise? Visit the Tactical Tortoise Discord server at the link in the video description. There you can find signups for all manner of tournaments and casual games, including the T5S2 Youngbloods series of free, new player-friendly events designed to introduce you to 9th edition and give you a chance to experiment with new lists. For those looking for more competitive action, rapid-fire tournament pods are currently available that award prize support and standings points and help you hone your skills to a knife's edge. And remember to stay tuned for even more exciting events as Season 2 progresses, including team events, online GTs, and free weekly tournament pods launching shortly after the conclusion of this Invitational on August 16th. Welcome to the community, and I'll see you on the battlefield. T5S2 stands for the Tactical Tortoise Tabletop Simulator Tournament Series. It is a global competitive 40K circuit that ranks players based on their results in online games, including events run by Tactical Tortoise and many other communities. At the end of each biannual season, the top 16 players in the series are given the opportunity to play for the title of Season Champion and become the greatest virtual 40K player in the world in this very event, the Seasonal Invitational Tournament. With over 400 players and dozens of tournaments competing on the ladder in Season 1, T5S2 is now one of the largest and most competitive series in online Warhammer and shows no signs of slowing down. So what are you waiting for? Visit tts40k.com to view live standings, join the community Discord server, and get information on upcoming events and tournaments. There is glory to be won on this virtual battlefield, Commander. Do you have what it takes to compete? Want to get involved in T5S2 or events run by Tactical Tortoise? Visit the Tactical Tortoise Discord server at the link in the video description. There you can find signups for all manner of tournaments and casual games, including the T5S2 Youngbloods series of free, new player-friendly events designed to introduce you to 9th edition and give you a chance to experiment with new lists. For those looking for more competitive action, rapid-fire tournament pods are currently available that award prize support and standings points and help you hone your skills to a knife's edge. And remember to stay tuned for even more exciting events as Season 2 progresses, including team events, online GTs, and free weekly tournament pods launching shortly after the conclusion of this invitational on August 16th. Welcome to the community, and I'll see you on the battlefield. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the stream. My name is Trevi. I'm here with Shuma. How's it going, Shuma?
It's going pretty good. How's it going with you?
It's going all right. And we're here to talk about some Space Marines today. We have the epic Space Marine Battle of the Century happening on stream from the Invitational Group 1 between, over here in the blue, Nick Rose, ITC top 10 player, extremely long and storied career in 40k, I would say, from Nick, aka Darkwing. Versus over in the red, we have Glarg, aka Paul Eunson, on the stream, who is the winner of the very first T5S2 tournament ever hosted. So I'm super excited to have Glarg back on the stream after a long and arduous season of playing a whole bunch of different factions in the T5S2 series. Are you psyched for this matchup, Shuma?
I am. Blue Marines, Green Marines. Yep. Put them together, you get like turquoise Marines.
Yeah, there's some white in there, so it's kind of it's an aqua almost.
Yeah. A nice sky blue.
Yeah, so yeah, confusingly enough, the white scars are being represented on the red side by the red player using blue Marines. So, nailed it. Perfect. Flawless, I think, from these players. The branding of these Space Marine chapters has never been better.
Oh yeah, solid. I mean, we got some trade overs with these Eradicators on the other side too. Like those, that Indominus Crusade flew around. Gilliman handed out 100,000 Premier Space Marines, but they all had blue armor.
Right. Yeah. That's just the factory paint job. Unfortunately, the Imperium didn't have the chance to repaint them yet. So those Eradicators are still. Those Eradicators and Assault Intercessors still coming off with that right off the show floor.
No one is brave enough to tell them any other business.
Yeah. Belisarius call. He's he comes knocking down your door with his solar atomizer, and he's like, "Look, I built you some beautiful blue armor." And these Green Marines over here are like, "Yes, sir, you got it. Just watch where you point that thing, man." So let's take a second while the players are finishing up their deployment here to talk about the list real quick. We have seen Nick's list on the stream before, a couple times actually, because he and Dan Paolini, both amusingly in the same group of the Invitational, and so besides this game, the last remaining game in Group 1 is going to have to be an almost perfect mirror between these Salamanders lists, which amuses me to no end.
It's so weird that these two players who have never met, never spoken before, managed to create completely identical Salamanders lists. It is just...
Yeah, definitely never spoken before.
No. I doubt they had even heard of each other before now.
Yeah, they definitely don't dojo together all the time.
Nope, never.
Yeah, obviously a couple teams coming out with similar lists in the Invitational. Team Hottest Takes, which Dan is a part of, but he decided to bring Darkwing's list, or a list similar to Darkwing's with a little bit of a couple alternate models in there for the event. But Team Hottest Takes mostly took the one and only Chaos list with the big birds, featuring Magnus and a Lord of Change in that list. But that list, it's doing okay. It's doing all right. I don't know if it's scything through intercessor stat lines as much as these Tempests are going to be for Nick Rose.
I don't know if it's going to be scything through much more after the FAQ either.
Yeah, obviously, the FAQ, which dropped yesterday, removing multi-smites from the game so that a unit can only manifest the smite power once per turn, or can only attempt the smite power once per turn, has kind of nuked that Demon's list. It just yeeted it right into the sun. Yeah. Magnus went from doing 30 damage a turn to doing, I don't know, probably still like 12, so it's probably fine, to be honest.
He's still a very large man with a very large sword.
Yeah, and we talked about it with Arn, who was the architect of that list, on stream the other day, but he was lamenting a little bit that Magnus has access to so many interesting powers that you never use because he's just going to smite 3 times.
Exactly.
Which is totally fair, but that's been repaired. We will not be using that FAQ in case it matters for any of these other games until the end of the group stage, which is tomorrow. So any of the remaining games that we have on stream before the end of the week will still be using the ability to multi-smite, but once we tick over to the elimination stage and take the top 8 from the group stages, the top 2 from each group, they will have the opportunity to rebuild their list, and we will take any new FAQs and rules into account at that point.
I actually have to imagine that FAQ does impact this Salamanders list as well. That bike captain loves to hide in the middle of these land speeders, and that is no longer a legal possibility.
That is true. Yeah, obviously a big change to the character rule, lookout sir rule. There is that vehicles less than 10 wounds no longer provide lookout sir. Period. Full stop. So these land speeder lists, while they're still extremely powerful and efficient, will have to play a little bit cagier with those characters because the Tempests will not be protecting you any longer.
Nope.
Speaking of Tempest, let's talk about Nick's list here as he is finishing up his deployment. Pretty interesting take on Salamanders. It's focusing on sort of a multiple small unit style, MSU style of list, which falls or works perfectly with the Salamanders Master Artisans chapter tactic, where they're going to be able to get that one reroll hit and one reroll wound every turn from each of these units. So having a lot of individual high impact weapons on the table in a bunch of land speeders, or carried by a bunch of land speeders, is going to be pretty good. Land speeders obviously getting a big bump in 9th edition, not getting an enormous points increase between the editions, and then also getting the ability to move and shoot their heavy weapons without penalty, which is not something that they could do in 8th ed, which was a big drawback.
And an enormous increase just in the sheer capability of their weapons loadout, too.
For sure.
The blast weapons on the Tempest became... kind of went from 0 to hero in a day.
Yeah, as we talked about in our previous streams, it's looking like right now, the way the meta is shaping out for 9th edition, that trying to aim for a Primaris killing stat line is where you want to be in the meta. So things like Scorpius Disintegrators and these Tempest missile launchers, high volume, 2 damage, reasonable strength weapons. It kills Primaris super dead, it's not bad against infantry, and it kills Nurglings, which is a big deal right now.
Oh, yeah.
So with that in mind, we're bringing a single battalion from Salamanders for Nick today. He's got a captain on a bike. He's upgraded it to be a Forge Master to make him toughness 7, alongside the Salamander's Mantle for an additional -1 to be wounded. Kind of a big deal, especially with that smite nerf coming through. It's going to be a lot harder to smite this guy to death because if you can, each of your characters can only get 1 cast of smite off, and he basically doesn't care about any non-mortal wound attacks. He's just good to go. It's going to bounce right off him. We also have a Primaris Chaplain who's been upgraded to the Master of Sanctity, and obviously has the Wise Orator Warlord trait to reroll his litanies, so he will be able to cast 2 litanies a turn. I believe he's coming in with Catechism and Recitation this turn for +1 to hit and +1 to wound. Yep. He has Litany of Faith this turn, actually, which is interesting. I'm not sure what that's going to protect against, but I'm sure Nick has some. He's got something cooking. We also have just a standard Primaris Lieutenant coming out of Indomitus. So I think this is the profile with the shield, if I remember correctly.
Yep, shield and large Volkite pistol.
Big old pistol. And good old 2 damage power sword. Probably one of the best stat lines for a Lieutenant, especially since you're not quite as worried about getting those jump packs as you were in 8th edition. Yeah. A 5 wound Primaris Lieutenant is with a 3+ invulnerable save. I mean, he's just a captain, right? He's just like a smash captain.
Yeah, he is just a low damage outputs like your normal lieutenant. You know, he hangs out, he sits next to a vehicle. He's not hard to kill. Like, if anyone can just slide into his DMs, that guy's just gonna die. He's just 4 wounds, 5 wounds on a T4 with 3-up save, not even an invuln. Yeah. He's pretty easy to scythe out. The moment you hand that man a 3-up invuln save and just a tiny power fist, suddenly your swings into him don't kill him, and his swings back do kill you.
Yeah, it's like the choice 2 fingers of a power fist.
Yeah.
That's excellent stat line for a minor character like that. Not too many points over a standard Primaris Lieutenant. I think
very difficult to snipe out.
Yeah, absolutely. We're bringing a smattering of different troops options. I think this is an interesting sort of innovation that's coming from a lot of Space Marine lists right now. They're not focusing on a single unit type for their troops. Like, there's no more triple scouts so much, or just spamming intercessors. We're running the whole gamut of troops selections.
The repointing honestly made them all similarly viable enough. Like, one of the biggest issues with Primaris Marines and Space Marine troops in general is that you had some serious winners and losers just via points. Like, Infiltrators were an amount more enough than standard intercessors that, their no infiltration bubble was just not worth the loss in damage output and additional cost. Now at 2 points more for 5 of them, I mean, you're spending 10 points, losing 1 AP, and gaining a couple of pretty key abilities to prevent kind of like backline disruption. And that's like a legit trade-off. It's an interesting choice.
Yeah, especially now that strategic reserves are in the game, so you have to be worried about units coming out from outflank.
Yeah.
Every single game now. It's not just some matchups where deep striking is important.
Yeah, and they're not getting outcompeted by throwaway scouts anymore.
Right.
Like a scout, I mean, you could get 2.5 scouts for the cost of 1 infiltrator previously, and that is certainly no longer the case. And it just, the stock on these big bodies just went way up.
There we go. That's it.
Okay, I don't think we can click on it. Okay.
I do want to highlight the sheer power of Eradicators in a Salamander's army, too. They're not just benefiting from the sort of Master Crafter's bonus, although they get great benefits from that, but they also benefit from just Salamander's buffs to melt weapons in general.
These 2 back here, yeah.
They sort of double up on power all game.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, talking about those troops options, we have 1 Assault Intercessor Squad, 5 just a standard Assault Intercessors, an Infiltrator Squad that we mentioned before, a single Intercessor Squad with auto bolt rifles, and 2 Tactical Marine Squads. I think an interesting pick from Nick, but probably just trying to... they're relatively efficient, especially compared to scouts now, and not easy to kill, especially if you can get them in some light cover, get them down to a 2+ save.
They're almost an interesting counter meta to like a meta composed entirely of damage 2 that's trying to snipe out Primaris stat lines.
Yep.
Suddenly you have a unit here who just kind of doesn't care. Like, is as hard to kill on a per model basis, but isn't paying that extra tax, which on something that's just going to hide behind a ruin. Yeah. Like like a Relic Scorpius does not know the difference between an Infiltrator and a Tactical Marine behind a wall.
Yeah. Now, the elites in fast attack slots are where things get really spicy in this list. And I should note as well, everybody in chat, looks like we have a bunch of people who popped in. I appreciate everybody coming to...
really great movement here going on here, too.
To watch, yeah. These White Scars pushing in. You can find the list at tts40k.com/invitational. All 16 lists for the Invitational can be found there, as well as our streaming schedule and the current standings for the players, or the current scores. But the other slots here are sort of where things get interesting for the Salamanders. We have a 5-man Aggressor Squad to just make use of all of the excellent Salamanders' abilities that can go onto them. They can be counted as stationary to double fire their weapons with that Salamander strat. They also, with +1 to wound from Crucible of Battle, they go off the chain with their damage output, especially because Salamanders want to sit in Tactical Doctrine for so long to make benefit of that +1 to wound on their Meltas and their Flamers. We also have 2 units of Servitors, just to sit on objectives, but those open up Relic slots for 2 Relic Javelin Attack Speeders, which is not something that we ever saw in...
a lot of ways, they are the throwaway troops choice you're now going to see to just unlock transports, except they just can't get inside of these.
Yep. The Javelin Attack Speeder, an interesting option. It is a relic option, so you do require other units in your elites slots in order to bring them. But they bring they basically focus more heavily on survivability rather than damage output, like the other land speeders do. They get up to 9 wounds and have an aura outside of which 8-inch aura. If you're outside of, you are -1 to hit them. So they're very difficult to pin down, and they have 2 las cannons on them alongside a heavy bolter, so works perfectly with that Master Artisans.
Yeah, at cost, highly durable, super fast moving, and just hide it. But all around, it's just a good package.
Yeah. Fast attack, we're bringing 2 units of 2 Land Speeder Tempests. This is sort of the breakout unit from for 9th edition for Space Marines. They went from being sort of an odd option in the 8th ed codex to just being a staple, I think, in 9th edition here. They... like we mentioned before, bring in one of the most effective stat lines in the game for a weapon profile in their Tempest missile launcher, which fires... It's a blast weapon. They have 2 of them, which is important because it fires D3, it's strength 6, -3, 2 flat damage shots, which means if you're shooting anything above 5 models, they're going to be maxing at a flat 6 shots with that profile.
And they are loving seeing this aggressor squad across the table at 6 models.
Yeah, they are psyched for that. Yeah, there is an aggressor squad and an intercessor squad that are potentially blastable, at least for the first couple of shots that go into them. Also, assault cannons on those guys, just to add some additional damage output or some volume of fire. But obviously, that unit alone makes this list pretty effective at clearing swarms of infantry, even multi-wound infantry. We also have 2 Eradicator squads that we mentioned before. I think just a staple of every single Space Marine list forever, and especially Salamanders. They're going to be really gross in Salamanders.
Oh, yeah.
As well as, interestingly, I think we both like this pick.
MVP.
A Landspeeder Storm.
MVP.
There's no scouts in the list, so it can't transport anything, and it just has a heavy bolter.
It's a 55-point man who will, move 20 inches across the board, assault your Lehman Russ.
Yeah. It's gonna touch a tank with a blast weapon. It's gonna score you an engage on all fronts, and it's just gonna jump around for a bit. What are you gonna do? Attack it? Like what? It's 50 points. Who cares?
Yeah. Do you spend the time to try and kill a 7-wound Tempest 5 thing? It's 55 points.
Yeah. It's only shooting you with a heavy bolter, man. Leave those scouts alone.
Yeah. This dude's 10 points more than one of these Outriders that's now charging across the table.
Yeah. So I think interesting pick from Nick for that guy. Also, I don't know if anybody in life has ever seen a Landspeeder Storm in person, but I painted one back in the day, and man, that model's really cool.
Yeah, I loved it. It was so good. It was so cool. Like you could like model it with the scout just hanging out the side.
Oh yeah.
Shotgun.
Yeah, there's a guy hanging out the side like one-handing his bolt gun. Oh, what a boss that guy was.
It's being driven by tactical marines right now, but I mean maybe that's just a nod to the fact that there's no scouts that are getting this guy right now.
Chat. To answer your questions, Glarg did win the roll to go first and has taken the first turn, so he is pushing pretty hard across this table. Interestingly, he did not take engage on all fronts, so I was going to say that was going to be good that he would get that, but he will not.
You want to take us through these old blue-white scars?
Yeah, let's talk about the blue-white scars.
Nice sky blue, like eggshell marines over here.
Yeah. So with all of the really powerful assault Primaris units that are coming out of Indomitus, I think a lot of people got really excited about White Scars, and that is what Glarg is running today. And with, I think, mixed success in his previous games, but at the very least, I think it is a really interesting list and should be fun to watch on the table. He's bringing a standard chaplain with a jump pack, obviously upgraded to Master of Sanctity, Wise Orator, bringing Canticle of Hate for that extra charge distance. And usually, I think, also brings off Strike Off the Head, which is the +1 to wound litany from White Scars. We also have Corsaro Khan for another access to a +1. Oh, I think Strike Off the Head might be +1 strength, actually. Or is it rerolled wounds? I don't know. It's buffs your wounds. I forget. And then Corsaro Khan for an additional +1 to wound with his aura. We have a unit of 7 Assault Intercessors, so a little bit blastable there. But obviously having more models in an assault unit is never bad, so you can actually make it there when you get across the table. Like we've seen deployed up at the front here, 2 Infiltrator Squads from Glarg, as well as in the Elites slot, an Aggressor Squad, 6 Aggressors, like we mentioned before. I think just going to be using that advance and charge ability in addition to their ability to innately ignore the advance and shoot penalty. So they're able to put out damage as they're moving up the table, and then having just a big, powerful squad that you can sort of anchor the midboard with is very important in the GT 2020 format, because you want to be dominating those middle objectives. That's how you win games. Speaking of dominating middle objectives, we have 3 Blade Guard veteran squads as well. I think we watched them with Liam Vissel play them against the one and only Chaos list, the hottest takes Chaos list, where Blade Guard veterans were in part responsible for killing 42 Nurgling bases over the course of the game.
Yeah, they, as a unit, they are a sleeper. Like, you see that stat line, and you're like, this is just a Assault Terminator, but maybe not as good. And then, like, in practice, woof.
Yeah, I mean, they are +1, obviously +1 attack over a standard. I guess they don't have an actual chainsword, so they're matching an Assault Intercessor on attacks. But that Relic Blade stat line, with the it's a +1 strength, -3 AP, 2 flat damage sword. Just solid. In addition to the survivability of these units.
3 wounds, 2+, 4++.
Yeah, and Glarg has, I believe, he mentioned in his pre-games, He has upgraded one of his characters to have a warlord trait that provides objective security for units around him in an aura, which is that's a big deal for Blade Guard veterans. 3 wounds apiece coming off, 2+ armor save and a 4+ invulnerable save. That unit with objective security is not easy to take down.
And it's also they're not efficient to take down. Like a 3-model unit with that stat line, like you see this in the custodies a lot. You'll fire a lot of them. They'll be left with one guy. That guy's not going to run away. I mean, like it's effectively impossible for them to ever flee from leadership. But then you're left with a single model. And like, what do you shoot at that? Like almost any choice of resources to try and bring this one remaining model down is a bad choice.
Yeah.
But you can't just leave all these single hanging models hanging around because they still do substantial damage. They tie stuff up. Like, it's just a unit of 3, much in this one scenario, perhaps not all scenarios, but certainly in this scenario, much better than a unit of 6 or 9.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
They MSU so strongly.
Yeah, chat asking about clarification for that OBSEC trait. I'll find it for you guys. It is on the Primaris Ancient, and I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. So give me a moment, and I'll grab that. To finish off this list, though, we have 3-man Outrider squads.
Maybe the most notable strangeness.
Yeah. I think everyone immediately. I mean, you just want to take Outrider squads with with White Scars, right? Like you just wanna.
Yeah.
It fits like a glove.
And
that's what we're gonna do. Just a long threat range. You're able to kind of pin your opponent back in their deployment zone. Potentially grab some objectives from them.
Yeah.
And,
this is a rough match into that, though. The one thing that neither the Twin Bolt Rifle nor the Astartes Chainsword have is more than AP1. And AP1 into Salamanders?
Yeah, I think we're going to be... they will get to AP2 once they move over to Tactical Doctrine. And then, obviously, everything goes ham once you get to Assault Doctrine. Especially with the Astartes Chainswords. You do have to engage on round 3, which is a little bit awkward because White Scars typically just want to stick you in your deployment zone as quickly as possible.
And that's always the sort of the conundrum with White Scars, that they're most powerful late game, but so many of the rules benefit them just blitzing across the board immediately.
Yep.
And finding the balance is difficult.
Yeah, for sure. We also have a couple more entries in here. Obviously, 2 Eradicator Squads. Goes without saying, I think, as soon as... If you start a Space Marine army in Battlescribe, it starts with 2 Eradicator Squads in it, which is really interesting. I thought that was an interesting choice on the designer's part. But it actually it comes up with a validation error if you build a Space Marine list without Eradicator Squads in it. So the White Scars ones are a little interesting because they can advance and fire their melter rifles without penalty, which gives them a little bit of extra threat range. It's the same threat range as every Eradicator, but theirs is a little bit more consistent. But obviously, I think we can all agree that the Salamanders ones are probably
that consistency is the re-rolling a miss per turn, wound per turn on the Salamanders. They end up being roughly the same just via the consistency on Crafters, and then just because of the Tactical Doctrine buff, they just go so much higher. There's not a lot in the game that can compete with a Salamander's Eradicator in sheer efficiency of damage output.
Yeah, for sure. We also have... this is going to be... Well, so we have a Primaris Ancient, who we were discussing earlier, in the list as well.
That's the Banner of the Eagle.
Yep, absolutely. And then we have... This is going to be an interesting discussion. Is it a Judiciar or a Judiciar?
So
you were throwing me some shade last night there, buddy, on how I said it.
Oh, yeah. I think it's the Judicar.
And
you pointed out that there's an
I
in there.
There's an I.
It's a C-I-E-R.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that it's clearly spelled Judiciar, I'm still gonna say it's the Judicar because that's just less annoying.
So chat, just to for your edification, we have spent a CP to upgrade the Primaris Ancient to the Chapter Ancient, and then Hero of the Chaptered him to give him the Steadfast Example Warlord trait, which gives everyone Defenders of Humanity while they're within 3 inches of them. And it gives everybody, it counts everyone as 2 models instead of 1 for the purposes of determining control of objective markers, which is super good for units of 3. That's awesome. What a sick combo from Clark here. That is really cool.
This is one of the downsides of the Blade Guard veteran, though. Position 5 here.
Mm-hmm.
Those men, it's hard to stab from that far away, and it's not a small investment.
We're trying to see we're trying to generate some distance between the White Scars and the Salamanders here, but I think I would have liked to have seen these Blade Guard tow into this area terrain.
Yeah.
Although I guess it wouldn't matter because they have a 4+ invulnerable save. I don't think anything would punch higher than their 4+ anyway. But it would be nice to get the light cover on top of that 2+ armor save. That means you can shrug off a lot of this random damage pretty well.
Yeah, you're effectively ignoring the AP1 on Intercessor Remote Rifles at that point.
Yep. Yeah, so big aggressive turn coming out of the top of one from Glarg here. Obviously, using those forward deploying infiltrators to place banners on these front objectives. So we have banners on objectives 2, 5, and this one in the center. And then he did use one of the infiltrator squads to advance up and nab away this objective in the bottom right away from Nick in order to give him domination, which does require him to control more than half of the objectives on the table. So in a 6-objective game, he does have to control 4 of them, which is a hard ask.
Well, he's also forming a wall that will prevent the Salamanders from being able to push into the central objectives immediately. Like, this entire corner is now just stymied on these infiltrators that...
Yeah, I think I would have liked to see a little bit more of a spread from them. They may have just not had the advance roll to do what they wanted to. But if they could potentially sort of lock these aggressors in behind this obstacle building in the corner, that would have been brutal.
I think his concern might have been that he needed all 5 of them on the objective to out-OPSEC.
Yeah, that is true.
Other units that were on there.
For sure.
Banners.
Luke McCarthy in the chat. This White Scars player thinks he's playing Space Wolves or something.
I think he also might think he's playing Space Wolves just with this hardcore dive in with these infiltrators. Like it feels like an okay pick to grab the point off domination, but this squad will die.
Yeah, I mean, in order to max that objective, you do need to dominate every turn. And I mean, maybe he could have placed an infiltrator squad onto objective 4. But I don't think that they survive. So
you know what's really good at just throwing up on an objective for domination is Land Speeder Storm.
Yeah, for sure. This hero Land Speeder Storm we see Darkwind throwing up into the center of the table. Speaking of those secondary objectives, let's talk about the secondaries that the players have picked. Do you want to go through the secondaries for Glarg here, Shuma?
I can. Raise the banners high. I think that's everybody's 3rd pick, typically, though he hasn't nominated first. Maybe it's just an admission that that's just kind of where everyone ends up going. Get an infantry unit onto an objective, throw that action down, place that banner, and that banner's on the objective. You score it at the end of the turn. What, end of the turn, right?
You score it at the start. Yeah, so the banner's placed at the end of your turn, and you score it at the start.
Okay, yeah.
And we can see that Glarg it looks like he's trying to wall off this objective in the center and maintain 3 banners for the entire game, which is what you need in order to max that secondary.
Yep.
Because they each draw 1 every turn.
After that, the aforementioned domination, which is hold... What is it? More than 50%?
Yeah, more than half the objectives on the table.
Not easy to do on a 6-objective table.
Yeah, you see that one much more commonly taken on a 5-objective map or a 5-objective mission. The 6-objective ones, it is tough, but, I mean, this White Scars list is so fast. He's going to be able to push into Darkwind's side of the table pretty reliably.
It's true, but that's a losing trade if you're throwing away a unit per turn for that.
Yeah. It is.
But, I mean, getting the 15 points is getting the 15 points. Like, you can lose all your models and win the game, as long as you're getting those points.
Yeah.
Then the last choice is bring it down. Not a terrible choice into a wall of land speeders.
Yep, there are a billion land speeders on the table. Every one of them will give up 2 points for that, so... you'll get it if you kill. There's 7, so you get 14 if you kill them all. And you should kill most of them.
Yeah, you basically have to kill them. They will be in your face. There's no they're not going to be hiding behind a wall somewhere.
No, yeah, it's as efficient as land speeders are. One thing that they are not, outside of maybe these javelins, but even then, I believe the javelins are only toughness 6 with 9 wounds, and they'll go down to some dedicated anti-tank. Over on Darkwind's side of the table, we're taking engage on all fronts, which is very useful. The Tempests are very useful at getting. They do have the ability to effectively become airborne after they advance. They advance 30 inches and then become unchargeable by non-flyers and get -1 to be hit. So they can just jet out and grab those 3 points on engage on all fronts pretty trivially if you need them to.
Importantly, they can't fire their weapons if they do that.
That is true. Yeah, they lose their damage output, but I mean, if you're scoring objectives, then that's worth it.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay. We're also taking Raise the Banners High for Nick, which is an interesting pick. One of the reasons that these infiltrators on Objective 1 are so important is that they do deny a banner placement that turn, because you can't perform the banner action if there's an enemy within or in range of the objective. So that's going to be a tough one to max for Nick, but he's probably going to be able to castle up Objective 6, on which he already has a banner, and keep that one alive for most of the game. And once he pushes through these Outriders and these Aggressors, Objective 1's going to be relatively clear for him as well.
Yeah, I imagine at minimum 9 points. It would not surprise me if at some point he can also pick a banner up off of 4 towards the late game, because I suspect the first few turns of this will be very bloody.
Yep. And then last but not least, we have Assassinate from Nick, with the number of sort of elite choice characters between this Primaris Ancient and the Judiciar.
Judicar.
Nope, that's not what it is.
No, it's got a K in there.
There are a lot of aggressive characters, and that's something that you have to keep in mind when you're considering Assassinate as a pick. If your opponent has a bunch of a lot of characters, but they're all like sort of support caster, astropath style models, there's a pretty reasonable chance that you'll just never get to them unless you're a super aggressive army.
There is, however, one incredible downside to this list here for that, and that is that almost every single one of these squads is composed of 3 models. So the moment any of these squads loses a model, it stops blocking for characters. So if you want to kill both this Judicar and this Primaris Agent, all you have to do is kill 2 Blade Guards and 1 Bike.
Yep.
And then suddenly you can kill half of his HQs.
Yeah, for sure. Those HQs are pretty resilient, all being Primaris, but I mean they will go down eventually. Especially one thing to keep in mind about the
They're honestly probably easier to kill than the Blade
about
Guards
Judge
are.
Judy is that they look like a chaplain, but they do not have an invulnerable save out of melee. So if you can get a Tempest to shoot at them, it's probably going to die.
Yeah, these Blade Guard veterans harder to kill than either of the 2 characters next to them.
Yeah.
If you can drill back to those characters, I mean, you'll get them.
So we're swinging out is Darkwind here, putting the immense damage output of these land speeders down into this White Scar's army, killing 1 Outrider already. 4 of the infiltrators on Objective 1 are dead. And it looks like he's lining up a bunch of shooting, potentially to go into the units holding Objective 5.
Another Outrider down 1 wound as well.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Bunch of damage put out onto those Outriders.
What do you think of the Outrider?
It's an interesting pick. I think we'll have to... You can't just jam them in any list. I definitely think this White Scars one is going to be a list that uses them the best. But I do think the archetype of a fast unit that can either play for board control objectives or just go in with a boatload of attacks and just clear chaff infantry off of objectives is going to be pretty useful as people get more used to the format.
Yeah, they feel to me like they're designed for a meta that unfortunately is just not how maybe not the world at large, but at least the first round of this Invitational is shaped up, because while they have a boatload of attacks and a boatload of bolt rifle shots, they're not amazing into Primaris stat lines. Like, they'll empty half an Orc squad out, like, with a wave of their hand, but these are...
well, you have to keep in mind that these are White Scars Outriders, and once you get to that into the Assault Doctrine, I mean, they will rip through 2 wound infantry in it. No problem.
Turn 3 of those will kill an entire Primaris squad, but they have to
it is a little tough when you are watching them all get killed by Tempest launchers, so... so we have 2 Outriders on this back objective getting knocked out right here. Brutal.
Yeah, they do benefit quite a bit from the Skilled Rider stratagem, having that 4 wounds, toughness 5. They do tend to survive more than one might expect, but then that becomes like, still that you want to the implication is you want to use them immediately. Like, they move so fast, they hit so hard, but if you have to wait until turn 3 before you're really gonna get like high efficacy out of them, it becomes just almost a game of self-control.
Yeah. I mean, it might be in some situations if you want to take a unit of 3 or 2. A unit or 2 of 3 of them. You can't take a unit of 2. So don't misinterpret me.
Well, I mean, you can technically. You just put a 2 on the board and it just dies immediately.
yeah. Just don't deploy them. It's fine. You could just keep them as your backline objective holders and then use them to sort of rocket up in the late game potentially. But yeah, like you said, it does take a modicum of self-control to do that. At that point, they aren't in fact outriding. But I think they do also fall prey to this the Primaris stat line killers, where they're 3+ armor save and 4 wounds means that multiples of 2 damage will kill them very quickly.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate stat line to have currently in the world of anti-Primaris firepower.
Yeah. Noah in the chat has my back. Says that the Judiciary wears a black robe like a member of the Judiciary.
No, it's the judiciary, all right?
Actually,
I'm a practicing lawyer. I know what it's called.
Okay, buddy.
They're not in cover.
Whatever you say, bro.
That was your point.
Nathan Culver, thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And thanks everybody again for hanging out with us. Looks like we have a bunch of people in the chat room. Let us know who you're rooting for this game. Who's excited to see some white scars on the table? Or are you more of a Salamanders type of player?
Oh, the 2 damage.
Do you like the Green Marines or the blue white, the off-white Marines? I guess.
This is a battle between the 2 best loyalist Primarchs.
And so this into the Blade Guard squad.
Like, you know, the number 1 best Primarch all time.
Magnus isn't on this
11 hits.
table.
Looking for.
I mean, while he may have never done anything wrong, he's not really on Team Imperium these days. I mean, he's more like it's kind of his own team. But Khan is top cool guy, and
Magnus literally started a team with his own team with blackjack and hookers.
yeah.
What else do you have to shoot?
Got his own planet. It's just nothing but blackjack and hookers.
I
Yeah,
have
for sure.
these to shoot. I have this. guy
I'm going to
shoot,
go ahead and send it
this
back to the
shoot,
players' mics here while they're finishing up
Good job.
Nick's shooting phase. Looks like he has some important target priority to select, so we'll get his thoughts on it.
All right.
Oof, burned off with
These
the 20-year-old
intercessors.
spoilers.
I think they can only shoot this guys because these guys are behind the wall. So there's 15 shots there.
Yep.
They ran, so they need force a hit. AP 0. Reroll on 1s. Lieutenant. Looking for force. Master Ederson. Looks like only got that many wounds. Okay. Fight Captain is going to fire at them too.
Yep.
Because he's actually in range. Reroll 1s. 4 hits, looking for 4s. AP 0. Master Ederson. 3 wounds, AP 0.
2s. They're okay.
You're fine. Which makes sense. These
Seeing
guys
there
can't
was some of the
fire.
resilience of that Blade Guard veteran squad coming to the fore, just striking off a lot of small arms fire right now.
These guys fired
Handy dandy
here.
2+ armor saves is nice to have on your
These guys
backline unit.
Not fired.
Big danger though. I mean, if he kills one more of the Blade Guards in the front line, he can then shoot both of these characters because they are in front of the Outrider
And
squad.
heavy bolter into them. So,
Well, the Outrider squad will still look out for them, right? So they'll just.
Master Ederson.
They would be the closest enemy model at that point.
'Cause
Well,
that's
I
not-
think you would still count the Blade Guard veterans as closer, even though they're not big enough to look out for you.
It does not require line of sight because they would be blocked by the wall through most of the shooting. At least,
Yeah, basically it'll give you the 8th edition character protection as long as you have a unit to look out for you.
okay.
So anything, even if it's out of line of sight, will block for you. You just have to have a unit close enough to tell you to hide.
Okay.
2 damage.
So he does in fact have to kill one out of each of the 2 squads.
And then we
remaining
got the heavy
squads.
bolter at him.
Noah asking about Corsaro Khan's bird. I think it's Anzuk. It is Anzuk.
Already used
Nailed it.
Master Ederson.
That deep lore knowledge.
I did it.
The other one doing the same thing, John.
Yeah, I'm here to see Anzuk pull out somebody's eyes too. I think
3
that'd be
hits.
fun.
Yeah.
Looking for 4s. 2 wounds, AP2, so basically
We're
5.
ups. Ugh. One guy dies, one guy dies to 2.
Okay, and then 2 last cans, same thing. 2 hits. I haven't used any of my Master Artisan rerolls here. 2 wounds. So 2 6.
Nope.
So first one does 4 damage. Second one does
Oh no, I think that's
6 damage.
looks like some Eradicators getting blown. Ooh, a whole Eradicator squad blown off of the table for the White Scars.
Yeah, put it-
Ooh.
These
Not having those
lanes are
behind
for
the
one
obscure,
wound.
completely obscuring tree line was
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of players make the mistake of not prioritizing those Eradicators immediately as soon as they're on the table.
The target Uno.
Yeah, and so I think Glarg just making them a difficult target by putting them in that light cover, giving them that 2+ save, is commendable. And a lot of players would rather shoot at the scarier units that are sort of up in their face, like these Blade Guards or these Outriders. But man, if you do not take care of those Eradicators immediately, they will kill your entire army.
Yeah, you know kill Eradicators on 2+ save though pretty fast is 4 las cannons with the crafters rerolls.
Yeah, big old las cannon shots for sure. But yeah, especially an army built around sort of light vehicles, Eradicators will just mince. Every shot will kill one of these two speeder units.
Yeah, especially because they are units; they're not individual models, so you don't feel as bad using firing the entire squad in their total eradication rule. I mean, total obliteration. Sorry.
Total obliteration.
Yeah.
So that kills.
That missed chance for some good obliteration.
You should have to roll their number of shots, their AP, and their strength value whenever you use that ability.
4 guys. 1 dead. 2 dead.
Deuce 83, too bad he can't yeet the bird into the turbines of a land speeder. Brutal!
You can.
Yeah, it just deals 1 mortal wound.
Yeah.
Bing.
Guy just has a lot of birds. The guy's like 1,000 years old. You think he has the same bird the entire time?
Oh my gosh.
Dude, no, I think he's like...
This is a shot from this land speeder Tempest unit over on the right-hand side. Killed 4 aggressors.
This was my concern going into this matchup. That incredibly aggressive push that moved him into objectives, but didn't do a lot to blunt the alpha strike of the Salamanders. I mean,
especially if you're going first, I feel like there's almost no downside to encircling a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, there's all the aggressors dead.
I knew those Tempests were just licking their chops.
This is going south pretty quickly for these poor White Scars. Oh dear.
Maybe this is why they kept the blue armor on.
Oh, did we misinform chat here? Does Anzuk only hit infantry?
Oh no.
We are in here.
How would you lie to chat?
I'm the worst. I'm sorry, chat. Apparently I'm just the worst today at White Scars. Rules knowledge specifically. We've gotten a lot of White Scars rules wrong in the last 30 minutes.
While popular, they are certainly not. Probably have a lot less time on screen.
Oh, it's just non-vehicles for Anzuk. So you can pull the eyes out of monsters, but you can't pull the eyes out of people driving land speeders.
Okay, so anything with an eyeball, but that's not like a mechanical eyeball.
Or a land speeder.
And Chaplain going in also.
Yeah, those guys have eyeballs in those land speeders. Yeah, you're right.
9 does make it.
More like man sucks at killing vehicles.
Yeah. He's going to get some tactical marines, though, hopefully. He can just ping those guys immediately.
Going into these Outriders?
Yep.
You want to
Vic in the chat pointing out that this is a pretty good example of the advantage of going second, for sure.
I don't think
is that you can deploy conservatively and then pop out. We are, I should note that for the Invitational, and you can find all of the regulations we're using at tts40k.com/invitational, but we are using an 8th edition style of deployment, where the players will determine the attacker-defender role before the game starts, and then the defender will pick their deployment zone, and the attacker will deploy first and gets the opportunity to go first.
And very importantly, the defender picking the deployment zone, these are not symmetrical maps. The defender can pick a side of the board, as happened here, which just has a lot more line-of-sight blocking terrain than the offender's side will have.
Yeah, in fairness, not that that's I think really helping the Salamanders too much, because there's not a lot of shooting on these White Scars army.
Yeah, when you're not a ranged alpha strike, honestly, it's a little bit difficult in 9th. Kind of in a general sense right now.
Yeah. I do think. Go ahead.
I was just gonna. I mean, obvious counterexample of that is 46 Nurglings, but extreme skews into resilience. And then we're not doing this White Scars army is not.
And I do think some people in the chat are pointing it out, but this style of Salamander's army is going to be very effective in both styles of deployment.
Oh yeah,
because it can always deploy hyper defensively, and then everything just moves between 12 and 20 inches, and it just dances around the terrain and gets to hit you. Gets the first opportunity to hit you basically regardless of whether it's going first or second. And we have seen this list go first and basically do the same amount of damage.
Everything here can move through breachable terrain, whether or not it's a vehicle.
Yep.
And a lot of it can move it and also move 16 inches and still fire at full effectiveness.
Yep.
Which is definitely, that is an archetype that I think we've seen start to propagate quite a bit across 9th edition. Like, I myself am currently playing an orc army that has, that works entirely in the same concept. It has 10 Chinook Warcopters, also a 16-inch moving heavy gun platform that can deploy hyper offensively or actually get around defensive deployments by just being able to move essentially anywhere on the table.
Yeah, 100%.
So I feel like that is a strong list archetype that has popped up that we've started to discover. Like, a lot of the original thought into what 9th edition would be was just these like Death Stars of like Bloodlord Terminators or Custodes, and it's certainly like that is still the case in a lot of ways.
Right.
But this strange beast of just hyper fast, hard hitting light vehicle spam kind of like popped up out of left field, but I think a lot of people just did not see it coming.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I mean, obviously a lot of the missions in the GT packet have these 6 objectives, so if you're focusing on a single big Death Star unit, you have a tough time controlling the entire board, and that's not an issue that land speeders have.
No. They also MSU very well. They can snag things out from under squads that don't have OBSEC. There's just a lot of like strange fringe benefits that are like immediately obvious.
Got one banner going.
And the unit type, maybe perhaps more than any other unit type in the game, was kind of heavily affected by heavy weapons previously taking negatives and no longer taking negatives. Like every single weapon on every one of these speeders, with the exception, I guess, these assault cannons, were heavy.
Because I hold 3.
Oh no, the assault cannon is heavy too. Yeah, it's almost the entire unit type across all codexes just got a flat buff.
Yeah, effectively +1 to hit.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
And
that said,
well, let's just try
Glarg does live the aggressive list dream here and score the full 15 for primary.
Hard. I'm actually kind of surprised how hard I punched.
On
can't stand up
on the top of round 2.
See if you can do it twice more though.
Yeah, the issue is that he's going to be running low on models pretty quickly, I think, here. These casualties for the bottom of the round were pretty extreme. And I think I would have liked to have seen a lot of these units, especially these aggressors and these eradicators, outflanking, I think, rather than being on the table. Especially since going first, your outflank is so much more powerful than the second players.
Absolutely. And White Scars have the plainly better outflank.
Yeah, they have encirclement, which also allows you to bring units in on your opponent's board edge. Not going to be super useful in this game, but sometimes your opponent doesn't quite have the model count to screen you out of their entire table edge, and you can deploy where you normally couldn't with the standard strategic reserves ability.
Yeah, and this is that danger right now with White Scars. Like, you build an army to manipulate that turn 3, but you gotta get there.
Right.
And that's not easy to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of the most effective White Scars lists I've seen almost don't look like White Scars. They skew very hard into like vehicles and high resilience in order to maintain their stay on that maintain train up until turn 3 when they can suddenly explode and dominate for turns 4 and 5.
Yep.
I like how that's 9.
So here come the Assault Intercessors out to play on the right-hand side.
And the Blade Gunner veterans.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, everyone's coming out, right? All hands on deck for the White Scars.
This turn needs to be huge.
Having to jump off their objectives, unfortunately, which is unfortunate on the right-hand flank. They just ran out of models. I think Glarg probably expected to lose basically what he did, but I don't think he expected to lose also that entire aggressor squad.
Yeah, I mean, that's at this point you realize like you can't. Holding the backfield just means you lose everything else, and then you lose the game. Like he has to inflict damage.
Yeah.
Oh, leaving objective 5. Yeah, I think he's just admitted that after this coming Salamander's turn, he won't have anyone on any objective if he just leaves him.
I mean, you might as well trail one model back to touch it, right? You don't really lose anything.
If you're planning on charge,
I guess we're just YOLOing here. Who cares? Yeah, I mean, we'll see how well these Outriders can do. Engaging everything. I am worried that this captain with the Thunderhammer is going to be able to punch through them pretty hardcore. They're going to have a real tough time getting through his defensive tech.
I want to see a skilled riders play on this movement phase, because if that does not get thrown down, I am...
well, if they're engaging everything, skilled riders I don't believe affect melee attacks, right?
Oh, yeah.
Does it not?
I don't believe so.
Is that my entire army?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, it is.
No, that'll prevent the retreat and then the entire army firing into them as well. Those live cannons still want to shoot that squad.
Glarg there sounding like he's a little surprised that's all he's got.
Oh yeah, me too.
Thanks. I mean, if you go to this big Glarg name on the side of the board next to the table,
Yeah,
there's more Space Marines over here than there
There's
are.
a Space Marine army here.
Yeah.
Maybe we should forge a narrative. We should like Glarg redeploy those guys.
The narrative I consistently want to forge is that these Outriders are just expensive for what you get out of them right now.
Do I get a CP back? I do.
Whereas, like, in a lot of ways, these armies are very similar. Like, these Outriders do perform a very similar role to these Landspeeder Tempests, to these Javelins. And that they're just very fast-moving, very hard-hitting.
Alright, sorry, I do.
Like a modern take on your fast attack, like your fast mover, your fast attacker. But like, we're sort of seeing just in vivid color right now the difference between the two units.
Yeah.
So hitting on 3s because they ignore advanced penalties.
That also sounded like the Primaris Chaplain getting the Salamanders chapter litany off, which gives everyone within 6 inches of him heroic intervention.
-2.
Which is pretty good.
Especially when combined with the strat that they have. That when charged allows them to Overwatch, move 2d6 inches, then heroic intervene. If any unit within 12 is charged, which means this just base Space Marine squad in the corner over here, upon the declaration of a charge, could just body block this entire Blade Gun Veteran squad from touching the Intercessors or Eradicators.
Yep. For fun.
Yeah, so I wonder, kind of in hindsight here, I think I would have liked to have seen maybe the Outriders stack the right-hand flank between Objective 2 and 3, and then just everybody run up onto Objective 3 to block a lot of line of sight with that obscuring terrain.
That's so hard, though, in the deployment and going first, because I mean, if you're just trying to do like a null deploy on one side, I mean, the Salamanders will just meet you in kind.
That's true, but they also have to, because that is obscuring terrain, they have to move up around the area, around to that edge of the table in order to shoot those Outriders. And as we just saw, I mean, the Outriders out in the open,
I actually love it.
you know,
Okay, cool.
you didn't kill all of them, and they're going to get to swing back and start engaging those Tempests. And obviously the Tempest can't fire the missile launchers while they're in melee because they are blast weapons, so you cut their damage output down massively if you engage them, even if you're not killing them. And honestly, Tempests aren't that hard to kill. They're only toughness 6, and you have a lot of buffs to wound between your Chaplain and Kosaro Khan. So that you can just pull them down once you get them to melee, just with Outrider attacks, I think.
So
what is a second? So I mean, and this, admittedly, and this is fully in mind with the fact that the map is asymmetric. What does a second turn look like? Like a going second go with the White Scars?
That's actually a really good question. I actually think that might have been better, honestly.
Yeah.
Because the White Scars threaten so far, especially with those Outriders. You just it would be Glarg saying to Nick here, hey man, if you go into either of these objectives in the center, I'm just gonna charge you and kill you.
And it's such a way, like, you can initiate a series of trades, like they'll tow into objective 3 and 4, you throw your 2 units out, you kill their objectives off of it, they then on their turn kill your objectives back off of it, and you initiate a series of kind of low stakes trades where you make it to that turn 3, and then suddenly you can explode out of your own deployment zone, out of your own kind of like wall of line of sight blocking, and really start to use the power of the army. Just rushing out first turn, attempting to pin an army into its deployment zone that mostly flies, and can easily just kill you off their lawn. It, like that felt like it might have been a little bit too aggressive for an army that and isn't that resilient.
In fairness, Nick's a good player, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
as we know. But he's not gonna dive into this White Scars army. He's gonna put a Landspeeder Storm on Objective 3, and then just hide the rest of his army just outside threat range. Glarg is gonna have to eat a round of shooting to make combat in any situation. But the goal, I think, for Glarg would be to force that round of shooting to take place at as close a range to him as possible, and it feels just a little bit too far away right now.
You need to force a slower pace of the game. You don't want to open up quite so many flanks to quite so much firepower immediately against this army, which has such an extreme alpha strike. Like this army outshot.
That is 24.
Yeah, the Eldar. We saw the Eldari, the mechanized Eldari list. With 6 Hornets and 3 Falcons and every gun for every Warwalkers and Vibro Cannons, everything, and it just got outmatched by these Landspeeder Tempests.
Yeah.
It did kill all of the Landspeeders in one round of shooting, but I think the damage was done at that point.
Oh yeah, and the fact that the Salamanders army can engage, like you want these vehicles shooting, but they can also just dive on a
That's right,
Warwalker
yeah.
squad.
Yep.
And just turn it off.
Delete these. And what do you want force?
Yeah, Nick also
Sorry,
commenting here in the chat. Looks like Glargate's failed a 4-inch charge with a CP reroll, which is literally nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, so then the assault
Yikes.
intercessors, you just get 5 shots. Really just
Yeah, and
one
unfortunately, it looks
protector
like
here.
this White Scars army may
wow.
quickly become a White Scar on this
Alright,
table.
looks like 2 hits, and then
These are war games, though. You know, these two armies aren't fighting each other. They're just practicing.
It's a practice game, yeah. These chain swords,
P1.
they're just Nerf swords.
Yeah, they're friends.
Another guy dies.
They'll have a Fenrisian Ale later.
And
They'll
then I
talk
will
about it.
86
You
next
know,
turn
some
for the
gentle
heroic
ribbing,
intervention.
and then they'll all be friends at the end of this. This
Cool.
is
So charge. and
Lord of the
then
Swarm, one YouTuber was selling a shirt that said ICP roll
Mix
ones
it
into
in.
ones. I like that.
Maybe if
shirt.
they use,
I feel that.
if they use this box.
So they can
over
roll
here.
intervene there, right?
Yeah, they roll 2d6 inches. Now they had the Salamander on power.
Okay,
That's
so yeah, okay, fine. So
Everyone within 3 inches can heroic intervene. So like, I don't know if you want the infiltrators.
No, I don't care. I don't care at all.
Yeah,
Chaplain will charge the aggressor.
not that it matters a big deal here, but I think a way to mitigate the damage that you take from this
He gets an 11. Wow.
from the Salamander's ability is
Assault
well, I guess
intercessors will charge
it would be tough to stop them from intervening. You can stop them from intervening if you engage them now, but unfortunately to do that you do have to declare them as a charge target. So
Yeah.
they're probably going to proc their shock assault regardless, which is a little brutal.
It's an extremely powerful set of abilities.
Yeah, with how defensive Salamander's armies are designed to play, that litany fits perfectly into their game plan, and just is it can be absolutely brutal in some matchups.
Okay.
So we get a
Salamander's
12.
army is definitely keyed to take out aggressive melee lists like this, especially sort of MSU melee lists where their Overwatch can be very powerful. Their
I'm feeling you did that 'cause
their
you really,
weapons
really
sort
wanted
of
to make sure you didn't
match
kill
up
that
with
track.
the enemy profiles very well.
Oh yeah, Salamanders into other Marines just they feel very strong. Like
I
they
feel like you're, like,
ignore
looking at
most
this, like,
intercessor
not gonna make it
weaponry
at
in
all.
general.
Yeah, now that audible rifles are really popular,
Shoot,
especially they're only going to get to AP1
no, I didn't
outside of
actually.
Deathwatch, and Salamanders just
close,
don't care about that, which is
Oh, they
really,
don't.
really powerful.
Close.
Yeah, which is as I was saying before, extra strong against these Outriders because they certainly rely a bit on that.
Yeah.
Coherency just like that.
Looks like we're about to see the Khan cut a land speeder in half, and then a chaplain do 4 wounds to a land speeder.
They're okay. No other charges exist.
Which I guess we'll
so
probably
these
still
guys
be okay.
fail.
Although they are touching a full
So,
aggressor squad, which is not
The
where you want to
Judicar will
be
choose
after
the
the interrupt.
intercessors to fight last.
Is this the is the chaplain have the 4
That's
damage?
gonna matter.
Grows these right
And
now?
then we'll start fighting with the chaplain.
I don't believe so. I think he has a
And
power
he's
boost,
gonna
yeah.
punch
Oh,
these
no.
aggressors.
It's,
He's AP1.
He's got power fist. And
Oh,
bravery.
yeah.
we'll all remember the bravery of the White Scars during the Horror
So
Series.
you
You know,
want
it's going to
Frenchman?
question their capability about here. No matter what happens today.
Yeah, it looks like that
4
chaplain
attacks. You're gonna.
I've got
potentially
Sorry,
going into
I
these
gotta do-
aggressors,
I gotta do the
which is going to be. I mean,
intercessors,
he
they
hits
can't
pretty
come out,
hard
though.
still with +1 to wound and rerolling
Oh.
fails.
for their heroic charge. So they got a 6. Okay, so
Oh, looks like we got the strat played
goes
here.
in,
Yeah, here comes the that was the strat to
and
heroic
then these guys are within
2d6,
3.
and then here's the standard heroic intervention from the
Um,
chaplain.
All right,
litany.
so you
Brutal.
swing here.
R.I.P. infiltrators.
R.I.P.
I mean, I basically would get 3 aggressors.
Yeah, definitely.
4
I
aggressors
don't
on
think
him,
Glarg
or you
was,
swing here, you basically have to go
his
here.
his
You're
deployment
gonna
sort of
have
across
him,
the
you're
length
gonna
of
have
the
these guys
table.
here.
I don't think helped him
Basically 4 attacks.
at all.
right?
He really
Vortex.
he's kind of
Hitting on
piecemealing into the
twos, you're running on
Salamander's army, and
twos,
that's exactly
plus
what
1
Salamanders want to
on.
fight against.
Yeah, you need
freeze, but
you need a
rerolling
hammer.
all hits
Yeah,
and
if
Hammer
it
it
seemed
down.
like
I
he
mean,
was
go
set
ahead.
up maybe to, or
Yeah,
his
it's
first
not-
turn was set up to
doesn't matter.
fight from objective 3 to
So
objective 1,
threes,
and just not having
rerolling,
the rest of his army in place to
and
complement that game
twos,
plan
rerolling.
is really killing him.
Okay.
If
Minus
he
3.
also had a bunch of Blade Guard veterans in this
6
fight
ups.
on objective 1,
So
that
3
would
go
be
through.
sick.
First one
But he doesn't. What are they doing?
Does
They're
one.
fighting this
Second
Thunderhammer
one.
guy.
does
Kills
3,
one.
so kills 1, and third one does 1. Cool. That's fair.
All right, so I'm gonna lose this guy, and this guy's gonna.
Oh,
Sure. You want to interrupt anywhere?
was the land speed? Oh no, was the strat use on the land speed or storm?
I think so.
Which strap?
Because
For the 2D move and heroic intervention. Is that how he suddenly got in this Blade Guard vet? Or did this Blade Guard veteran
No,
just
the
charge?
Blade Guard veteran charged him. Yeah, he was already on objective 4 with the lance.
Okay.
here,
Never mind.
a little bit ahead. All right, and then
I feel like that's not where this veteran wants to
this
be.
guy can't do anything. So
Since Peter Storm
I
is a
don't think
hero.
I don't want to stop here because then. You're just
Yeah, I think
becoming
this
closer to me, so
Blade
I'll
Guard
just
veteran squad
leave
on
it as
objective 4 is the one that failed the charge.
Oh,
Well,
the Blade Guard
only
vets
for
were
2
just
bites
de facto
here.
what needed to really perform well too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he declared the
And
2
you
tactical marine
have-
units, or the intercessor unit and
The
the tactical
Sultan
marine unit,
Intercessors
and
that come
probably
in, I
failed
don't
on the,
really care.
on the,
They get +1 save. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to
the
do
tactical
CP
unit.
now for the White Captain.
Thanks, new charge rules.
Thanks, new charge rules.
Good job, charge
Right,
rules.
we
Yeah,
need to switch
I've,
that back
that's
up
not the first time I've seen that happen, and it
But-
is
all right, cool. So
soul
hitting on,
crushing.
threes,
When you're like,
reroll
oh, this should be
ones,
easy. I have an unfailable charge, and I'll
5
go
hits
for an
on
extra inch to
spikes.
try to get 2 units, and
hitting on threes,
then you get screwed by the
5
dice.
wounds in the
It
body.
especially is
83, sixes.
punishing in situations where you're charging with multiple units in your army.
3
And
damage
you
each,
potentially
so
have to
1,
save that CP reroll for
2,
multiple
2 dead,
units, and
one
it
on
just
1.
goes downhill south.
Oof.
Cool.
Oh, we got that,
Wow,
that angry throw there.
That's it.
Getting the models off the table there.
Sarah Cannon is
Oof.
going to punch the land speeders.
Yep.
With his mighty
Yeah, that was the
6 attacks.
Smash Captain, the
Hitting on 2s.
Unkillacap
Go to
or
that.
Invincicap. That's what it is.
And wounding on
Hitting people with
2s,
thunder
question
hammers.
mark? You're, what, T5?
Honestly,
T6.
very little salt coming out of the players so far.
Wow. So wounding on 3s.
Yeah,
wounding on
Glarg, going into the game, said that he wasn't super confident in his ability, and I think that probably plays into his rationale for kind of YOLOing in and hoping Nick has a bad shooting face so that he can
Yeah.
capitalize. Just, I think, a little intimidated by the Salamanders list, which makes a lot of sense. I think a cagier game plan from Clark could have been a little bit more consistent, but he is certainly fighting uphill in this matchup. I think we can both agree on that.
100%.
The 1 mortal wound.
And True bringing up in chat that it is interesting to watch the list of the Invitational because we are so new into the format.
Yeah, we're kind of seeing which skews are the most powerful.
yeah. There's a lot of experimental lists, several lists in the Invitational that the players had never played before their first group stage game. And
These Salamanders lists almost feel like the least skewed of them all, too. To me, certainly, I mean, the land speeders are a skew. Like, there's just a solid brick of infantry backing them up.
Right, it's not focused. It's not sort of leading entirely into the skew. Like a list, for example, like Deneth's from group, I think he's group 2, where, Deneth from group 2 playing 60 Chaos Possessed and basically nothing else. Where that you're sort of focusing entirely on a single unit type. But in this, it feels a little bit more balanced. I think it's just taking the land speeders because they're the fastest and most efficient guns that you can bring. But there's a lot of different angles that Salamanders can play, and Nick's list is certainly doing that.
Yeah, the beginning of a new edition always feels like hand in hand, just very annoying and also very interesting. And like, you're immediately just like, look at all this, it's just all weird skew garbage, this is dumb. But then at the same time, you're just like, oh, I wonder what wins. This is
Yeah, and especially on in this online format too, right? Because the meta can adjust instantaneously.
Yeah, there's like no switching costs.
Yeah, next week it's the entire meta is going to look different on Tabletop Simulator. It's going to be crazy. What are we doing here with?
Are we rolling the?
Just moving the clock around. All right, sure.
Look, we got Tempest needed to sit over there.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. I think so far some of the skew lists that have looked very strong potentially could just get pushed out and replaced by new varieties of counter lists. Especially, we talked previously in our previous games about these Nurgling lists. These lists bringing 42 plus Nurgling bases, which are incredibly powerful in the format, but I think can get hated out really quickly, as we saw
Yeah.
in the game against Space Wolves, where
Yeah,
a list perfectly keyed to kill Nurglings tabled it without too much trouble.
yeah, like you know what's more efficient than Nurglings when Ragnar's punching you? Plague Bearers. Or
Yep.
Demonettes. There's a lot of things that are points-wise substantially better than a Nurgling.
Yep. And you got the-
If all that's swinging into you is just a giant volume of 2 damage attacks.
Yeah.
But if those aren't what's coming into you, suddenly Nurglings feel utterly unkillable.
Right,
Like,
it's just demoralizing
Yeah.
to shoot regular bolters into them.
yeah, that list is almost the epitome of the that interesting rock paper scissors of like a new edition skew.
So
Yeah.
all wound -3.
6 is
Oh.
okay.
Damage.
Yeah, and as
So,
comments in
yeah,
chat are
pretty
pointing out, as we get farther along in the format, the meta will sort of even out a little bit more. Right now, people are capitalizing on the lists that they find that are good before there's the opportunity to sort of to counter tech for them.
Games Workshop is also still actively making major changes to the edition.
Right.
on
Yeah.
a weekly
Also,
basis.
also we had enormous sweeping FAQs drop yesterday,
Yep.
which will be in play for the tournament on Friday.
Yeah. All those
So 3 ups.
everyone's poor work boss, poor bike boss just got put back on the shelf for the rest of time.
That poor guy.
That's sad.
And
Sad
then
man.
What a bizarre
Vijay Kar into
FAQ.
the Intercessors.
I don't. That
Remove
was
the
so
scene
weird.
from the game.
Yeah, and they didn't remove the Warcopter,
Yeah.
a model that's been out of print for years.
Yeah, Nat Valdar bringing up a good point as well that everything on this table may change come a month from
Oh, yeah.
now,
Yep.
given a new Space Marine book as well.
Okay.
It also
1
seems just by giving all of these league to build manuals, seems like they're like not small changes.
Crazy.
Like some core assumptions seem like they're getting altered in like the basic stat lines of different weapons.
3
and
wound Terminators, bro.
Yeah, I can't really stop.
Almost every gun on the
That's fine.
what is it? That like
so that's
forklift
not my
dreadnought
fights. Oh, no,
is now different.
Infiltrators. They're gonna punch your assault.
via one of the other build manuals.
Dreadnought.
Yeah,
Okay.
the man who has like a
Right.
one throttle and one pedal, and that somehow
Oh,
controls
and
it.
Victor.
Yeah, that's that
Victor
guy.
Plus 1 for target.
Yeah, the build manual for that I guess got leaked today or yesterday, and every gun on it's different.
Wow,
And on 4 is reroll.
interesting.
The heavy bolter pistol, one shot.
Why?
I guess because it's a pistol. I don't know. No one knows.
No AP. That's.
But I think the AP on the gun went up, and the strength on the flamer went up.
Look at that.
That was on my assault intercessors. You said?
Yeah.
Lose a wound here.
Chain Fists having an AP
Okay,
of
that's all we're
4
fighting.
is an interesting, also
I'm
interesting.
just
So they,
gonna roll the
they'll
assault
give everything in the game a
intercessors
2+
just
save
to
against
have
them.
4 attacks each.
Balances
Oh
out.
yeah.
It's like
And it's an AP value of
So
positive 4.
1,
Yeah, that's
2,
gonna
Yeah.
3,
a brand new
down-
mechanic that improves your opponent's armor save when you attack
Sergeant?
them with a weapon.
They went down like 2 points, and now you can see why.
basically like boom, boom. Pain on 3s, re-rolling everything because of the chaplain. That's that. And then when you on 4s, Master Artisan. Looks like 8 wounds.
4 saves.
Yep.
1, 2.
Luke
one
McCarthy,
left,
I am not Bridger.
one.
I wish.
One go left and 1.
You guys got a jawline?
Right, then I'll just do these Inquisitors. or the Infiltrators, sorry. I should
I am a nobody. I am
think about
uncool.
that.
You had quite
looks
the cavalcade of celebrities co-casting with you in this
so
first round
looks
this week.
like,
Yeah, and we should
3
have,
attacks each 'cause they are 2 base.
At least the Tabletop Titans crew and Scary back for the Scary from Scardcast back for the elimination rounds. I know Scary has a game scheduled on to commentate, scheduled to commentate on Friday, so he'll be back.
I'm just keeping the seat warm here. I am a nobody. I was 18th in the.
Yeah,
Didn't
not
even-
even top 16. You
No,
scrub.
didn't quite make. I needed
fours.
2 people to.
Yeah, you could have
You
shown
know,
people the way of the Chinork Warcopter.
10 wounds at AP
Yeah.
0.
That way would have been shown. Believe you me.
Very much.
Right, and then these guys just move.
Oh man, no, don't give Shuma too many compliments, man. It's gonna his head's gonna balloon so big he won't be able to leave his apartment.
I mean, it's already at risk. Like the door frames are shrinking right now. I think Bridger makes great content. I think he is a very good
Are
commentator.
going to swing.
Actually, I love the
into-
Tabletop Titans videos.
So I think a little bit of a
He's
mop-up
doing the
operation at
chaplain
this
again,
point. We are down
very
to
traditional chaplain
7
game.
Blade Guard veterans
Actually,
and
wants to
Corsaro
swing
Khan,
some
a
Professors.
chaplain, One Outrider and one
4
Eradicator.
attacks each.
Oh, and a Primaris Ancient
Everything
on the
in 3
table for
cells?
White Scars versus almost an
Okay,
entire
I'll,
Salamanders.
transfer.
There's one Eradicator Sergeant, apparently.
Yeah, I
Somehow.
said that. I said the one Eradicator.
Did you? Oh, okay.
Sergeant, so 17 attacks.
Don't forget the 3 red boxes.
Yeah, there's 3
Master
banners. I mean, those are worth more than models, right? You know, they actually give you points,
4s,
which is very nice.
Master
Unfortunately, White Scars
Two
on track to score
Sixes.
0 primaries for the rest of the game, given that they
Well,
hold
first
no
one
objectives
does-
besides 4, which I
That
believe that they will
finish.
quickly lose.
only 2.
Yeah.
So 2 dead.
Yeah,
That works for me.
Maybe I should have went for the chapter.
Kill that guy. Kill this guy. So now you have 5.
Alright, I think that's for me. I got this down here. So these intercessors, bringing on the Adjudicator. So it looks like 6 attacks.
At Valdor claiming this game is over. Nah, I think this Blade Guard veteran can pull this out.
How sick would that be, though?
I'm
He
gonna
has
reroll
what?
the ones and
How many
twos.
turns are left?
Yeah.
4
I just
turns,
wanna
4 turns
see-
left in the game. With Shock
After-
Assault, he'll be getting 5
Looking
attacks a
for
turn.
4s, Master Artisan,
So that's 20 attacks doing 2 damage.
just
He
2
could
wounds
kill
with Judicar.
every
Yep.
single Primaris
3
model
damage.
left.
As long as you
3
can charge
damage.
every turn.
And then I've got
Okay, he
2,
could,
4,
yeah,
6
he could
for the
kill every
Eradicator,
single Primaris model and all the Eradicators left
6,
on
7 for the
the
Sergeant,
Salamander side by
one
himself
the Adjudicator,
by the end of the game.
Master Artisan.
I mean, I
Looking
want to see
for
nothing more than that
4s,
guy like pick up
reroll
2
1
sticks from this
solution,
forest
Master Artisan.
and just John Carter of
Looks like
Mars
3
all
wounds with
over
Adjudicator.
these Martian green men.
He's okay.
Yeah, like someone in the Salamander side accidentally like kills his dog
Tempest
without
yeah.
knowing who he
6
is.
attacks
Yeah, we flip over to a
into
different game. We
the
come back at
spike
the
guy.
like at the bottom of 5, and it's
the
just a
ones.
sea of flipped
for
over
5s.
Salamanders bases. And
reroll ones
to the extent that this
Lieutenant.
Blade Guard veteran, you can't
And
see
Master
him
Artisan.
in the stacks
One
of
looks like
bases
one
that are
wound.
flipped over around him.
Yeah.
He's fine.
And
He looks
then
like the cover
Sergeant
of every
comes
single Space
in.
Marine Codex where it's just him on
Uh,
top of a body, like a pile of corpses. It's just
Yeah,
Salamanders
it's right
down
out
there.
of 300, this
2,
guy.
3,
Yeah.
4 attacks there. 5 for the Shock Assault. Sorry. Master Artisan here. 4 hits. And Master Lieutenant. Master Artisan. 0 wounds. We could not do 1 wound.
Yeah, so a loss here
it's
I
fine.
will
Landspeeder
knock
Storm. He's got 3
Paul
attacks,
out
I'm
of
pretty
contention
Sure.
for top 2 in the group,
Yeah, he's got 3 attacks.
and
He's
that
a
would
Shock Assault. That is 4 dice.
essentially lock in
Looking
Nick
for
Rose
3s.
and Dan Paolini
Master Artisan.
into the to be
3
the top
hits.
2.
Looking for 4s.
Oh, did Dan
Master
win
Artisan.
his second game?
Alright,
was
cool.
under the
That's all I
impression
got.
that he-
You wanna do it?
Yeah,
I
Dan
will
is
swing
2-0
again
right
with the
now.
chaplain.
Dan and Nick
Alright, I
still
figured
have
as
to
much.
play.
Aggressors.
That would put Nick at 2-0 as
I
well,
already
and
got
then
it.
the
I
other
already
2
got the
players
CP
at 1 and
screen,
2.
Oh no, it was the
That's 4
it was the
attacks,
other Mortarian,
twos,
or not Mortarian, the other
rerolling,
Magnus the Red
and 2s
art
again.
list that like had the surprise.
So
Like I guess not surprise. I was
4
kind
more.
of wondering how that list would turn out, but
So 4, 6 up.
one team had 2 go through, one team only had 1 go through.
stop it. It's not
Yeah, so
fair. Okay, I did
it is
2
a big
damage.
question
Kill
still
the
for
last
Group
one.
4.
Okay.
Which players advance? We have 1 game remaining in that to determine
You got 3
the,
for banners,
top
you
two
get
from
1
that
for
group.
banner.
Combination I don't get.
um,
Sort of.
but a bunch of 2-1s in Group 4
Yeah.
so far,
Get 2 for-
and that's
think the meta
including
shapes up.
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, continue. Sorry.
So that's including Bethany Taylor, Arn Sert,
These
and
guys are
Jaime
just-
Paris, all in that group.
Okay, I thought Arn was like a lock.
we're gonna put our-
But-
So Arnie is 2-1, so it is
Is
not
he? Okay.
set. It's not set in stone for him.
All
And
right.
Jaime, also 2-1, has to still play against Bethany Taylor. She's really the foil here. She hasn't played any of her games yet. Between today and tomorrow, she's getting them all done. And her score will determine who will advance in that group. So that's an exciting one. And
Let's,
we've already had Matthew Green, aka Headstrong, and Kian Tan, aka Ash C, advance out of Group 2, playing Grey Knights and Sisters of Battle.
Was Bethany playing the other sisters list, the Valorous
Yep.
Heart?
Yep.
That one honestly feels like one of the strongest, just like out of left field counter meta picks going into this whole group stage.
Yeah, an interesting combination of Sororitas, entirely Valorous Heart, rather than taking the combination of Valorous Heart and Bloody Rose. Just trying to rely on the defensive skew for as much as possible, and also bringing a lot of dedicated transports, which, as we've seen, have been very powerful in the meta. A lot of immolators in that list, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I want to see. I would have been very interested to see how that list plays into these land speeders. Like, is there a gun other than the two las cannons? I guess the Tempest.
The Tempests are they shoot through at AP -3.
Okay. Although also they just did die immediately to Exorcists. So that's like
you're not wrong. Yeah.
That'd be. I should have seen that one. That'd have been weird.
Yeah.
How do you think the meta shapes up after like out of the group stage, especially now that Magnus and Nurglings kind of like fade into the wherever the elves and that one hobbit went? Like, what do you think the next round looks like?
After they sail over the sea.
Just go to Bermuda or something.
That's an interesting question. Certainly, I don't think the Salamanders list changes very much, and it's looking like the two Salamanders players may be the two that advance out of Group 1. We'll have to see how the
but others
how
might
the final
react
scores
to
shake out. Yeah, for sure, we might see some more heavier focus on units that match up well with these land speeders. And not to mention just the land speeders, but you also have to deal with the characters that follow them up.
Yep.
A lot of lists can kill the speeders, but then fall apart when trying to kill the Eradicators and the Invincicap. And if you can't do both of those things, one of them is going to kill you.
You know what I feel like? You didn't see a ton of it outside of the Nurgling matchup, which neither of these lists faced. But one thing that might do well into this army is just an invulnerable save.
Oh, litanies.
Yeah, it was, I think, it was lucky for us, or maybe unlucky, that we didn't get to see the winner of the Nurglings versus the Salamanders, the two green blobs on the table fighting each other. But Magnus could have been devastating to this to the Salamanders army, just killing 2 or 3 units of these Tempests every turn.
Yeah, a Toughness 9 Bite Captain does not care about
Magnus
much other than 15 smites.
He will kill that guy in one go. One psychic power, and you're dead.
Shooting. These two guys are firing pistols into...
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many lists in the top 8 radically change going into the next stage. I have to imagine that the Chaos list gets revised a little bit, but I don't think at its heart the core of Psychers plus a billion Nurglings has always been good in 40k and will continue to be good. I think until Nurglings maybe change a little bit, but
I feel like that list is predicated almost entirely on the sheer overwhelming ability of 2 effectively unkillable characters being able to just blast out 20 to 30 mortal wounds a turn. The Nurglings feel like the second most important thing that was going on with that army, and like once you don't have the hyper efficiency of those 2 HQ choices, the justification for the Nurglings, like you need something to do something other than just exist. In that list, and it feels like I can't say I'd have to see how it performs without multi-smites, but it feels like that's a huge loss.
Noah in the chat, the group stage is not using any FAQs that were unless they were released before it started. So the FAQs from yesterday are not being used for for the group stage, but the elimination stage will use all the current rules. But I was talking to Arn yesterday. It sounded a lot like he was still pretty favorable of Magnus. Just for his ability to rocket across the table and hit something with a stick.
Oh, for sure. I think Magnus is still good. Just that particular list archetype where you are depending on Magnus to do 85% of your entire army's damage.
Right. Yeah, he may have to get a little bit more finesse oriented, or a little bit more diversified in its threats.
You gotta start dropping Nurglings to pull in more threats just to get back up to the point where you're doing damage again.
Yeah.
10 shots, hitting on 3s. You're rolling 1s because the captain nearby.
Luke McCarthy, bold prediction: the Magnus list becomes Nurglings supported by Death Guard. That just sounds like a Death Guard list.
So it looks like
it's any Nurgle Chaos list.
EP1.
I think I own that army.
Pick one.
I might have actually run. Had I made those two that like what was that, like 3 points down? I probably would have run that actually an army that would have just been that. I didn't discover the helicopters until mid swing.
Close enough to lock.
But now I'm in love
right now.
Right in my heart.
Does
helicopter is good
have
for sure.
Invul save?
4 up.
Okay.
Say that's just in melee, I think. Let me double check that.
All right. Well, either way, the first javelin's gonna go into the blade guard vets. So we're gonna fire the heavy bolter first, and then we're gonna fire the 2 last cannons.
He doesn't have an invuln save against ranged.
All right. Well, 3 hits with the heavy bolter. I need to kill these other guys first before I can even target them. So, 2 wounds with the heavy bolter at AP1.
AP1, so it's going to be 3 ups.
Another
1
wound.
wound, so 1 down to 1.
All right. 2 last cannons.
Dragon
shots at
Beef in
him.
chat. The
Massive arson
the chaos
mist,
list we're referring to also brings does bring
and 1 wound.
a sorcerer in Terminator armor, so it can use the devastating sorcery and arcane focus combo to come in and to teleport in and deal a bunch of damage. I don't know if it moves to sorcerers on discs because obviously psychic powers have such diminishing returns the more of them you bring that if you can't focus like a billion points of damage out of a body with +2 to cast like Magnus, then taking multiple sorcerers I don't think gets you very much. So I don't know if it moves to being multiple characters. It might just stick with 1 to 2 sorcerers plus Ahriman.
We're gonna fire the Eradicator and the Judicator.
Yep.
Actually, we're gonna fire Primus Obstac 5/5.
I'm actually a little interested
Yeah, we'll fire
that
the,
this Salamanders list
Eradicator
doesn't have a
and the
Judiciary of
Judicator.
its own.
Okay.
I feel like that would be very strong given how defensively oriented it wants to
Use a
play.
wound, 3 wounds.
Okay. I'll just.
I think a lot of the early romanticism of the power of the Juicier kind of ran into the fact that it doesn't do anything unless it itself is in combat.
Other javelin's gonna fire
And if it itself is in combat, someone just pulls an interrupt and then kills it. Or it has to just trudge its way across the board and somehow just make it there. It's
Well, I think the power, honestly, an aggressive Judiciary probably doesn't do that much extra damage, right? Because its ability doesn't really affect you unless you're,
Then that's just
unless you are being
right
charged.
now.
But
So, Primus Lieutenant and
if you're
2
playing a list like the Salamanders list, doesn't really want to go out and get you. It wants you to come into it, especially its infantry. And Judiciary just seems like it's so powerful at that stage. Like you can have a unit charge into you, use another unit to heroically intervene into it, and then Tempora Mortis it, and it's like game over. GG, man.
You're not wrong. That is a very strong combo. And I think as we're seeing right now, I mean, that might just be a win more. Like, I think just having a giant pile of high damage, high resilience models that, like, in the first place, what do you even need that combo against? Like, Blight Lords walking all the way across the table somehow, and somehow making it to your lines? Like, there's not a lot in the game that will have that overwhelming punch to where you really need that guy at all. And that guy could just be another speeder.
Yeah.
I was, yeah. Being special.
JW, I'm sorry that the White Scars list isn't actually white. Unfortunately, most of its units aren't in the system as white yet. They're all blue. So
Yeah, they're all
they gotta
they're all-
be, they
they're all
gotta
scanned in.
use what they
still.
can. Yeah, they're those newfangled sets of armor are still off of the factory paint scheme.
Yep. All of Games Workshop's photography is
I'm okay with that.
so far
Um,
Ultramarines.
Yeah, I can't really do much more about that.
And
I'll just deal with it.
It's the world we live in right now.
That's it. So I'll do the Indominus Lieutenant first. He's got 5 attacks.
Here's this exciting new
your Blade
Primaris
Guard
Lieutenant from Indomitus, getting to use that Relic Sword
He is very exciting.
to
So
cut up
hitting on
some
2s,
Blade Guard veterans.
Just for some reason now he's just better. And then wounding on 3s.
Nick,
5 wounds.
Lieutenants were always 2 plus weapon skill, sir.
Power weapons. So it's just like your Blade Guard. So it's
Minus
AB3.
3, so the 4 ups.
Wasn't the Shadow Spear one like a 2+
Go
gun?
through.
I think it might have been the
Damage 2,
Phobos
so it
one.
Kills
Yeah.
one guy. Let's kill this guy.
You can get all the lists over at
Then the captain of the bike is just gonna throw his 5 attacks
tts40k.com/invitational.
Into
All the lists for the top 16 are available there.
the 1 Blade Guard.
Yep.
instead.
It's a link to it's right under the video as well.
5 hits.
Oh
Two-
god, I don't believe me.
Right now, this list is composed of 5 Blade Guard veterans and a lieutenant
Oh,
Almost.
in the con.
Almost. You
Yeah,
know,
Corsaro-Con may actually
he-
pull
he
out
would probably
this.
been okay if you said, I believe. but then
He
you're
and
like,
he and this
"No, I
chaplain
don't believe
literally
anymore."
fighting back to back against a.
These guys failed. You get to
Or I guess these
first.
assault intercessors are actually White Scars as
sure,
well. So
Chaplain will go
um,
everything into the.
they
only 3
they might
attacks.
pull through on this flank actually.
Yeah, the con hits deceptively hard. He is actually one of the highest damage
Bleeding on
output
2s.
Space Marine special character, like premier Space Marine special characters that exists.
Can I roll
It's like
Yeah.
it's strange to think, but his
That-
his network of extra abilities just tops him over
First one.
the likes
minus
of
3 damage.
Yeah,
giant
getting to
hand.
strength
This
6
man.
with +1 to wound on the charge with his aura is a pretty big deal.
Yeah. And Zook just ends up doing extra damage as well.
Yeah.
Right,
And then if you
I'm
can make
just
it to turn
gonna
3 with
play
him,
all my
suddenly he
aggressors
is just this,
chaplain.
like,
Yep.
just this
So I
butcher.
got 4 and 3, so 8 attacks.
With like an AP, AP 4 damage D3 +1 sword.
Yeah, I believe Anzuk triggers after you make a ranged attack, right?
Yeah,
And so
of
he just has a pistol, so he can just shoot him. Right?
Artisan.
Is the combination there? Right? We'll just double check that. Yeah, it's after you're choosing to shoot in the shooting phase, and then having a pistol allows you to be shot even if you're in melee.
Yep.
That bird don't care about melee, dude. He
Nope.
gonna get you. He gonna come get your eyes.
Doesn't matter. And then what do you on 2s?
As JW points out, his damage also,
Wounds.
he rolls damage and wounds versus characters, so his damage just ends up being very high.
That was
But
his special sword.
16.
that intercessor's now gone, or that chaplain's now gone.
So he loses his rerolls anyway, but that's okay. Hopefully these assault intercessors go ham and kill these aggressors. That would be cool. Go get them, boys.
The downside is not turn 3.
It is not turn 3. Yeah, they are ignoring
they
those
charge,
those
so
newfangled
it's just 3
Astartes
attacks.
Chainsword AP
Sergeant.
values.
We're gonna need to
Sadness.
see some pretty bad saves here.
And 1. On 3s, we roll 1 for sorrow. And then on 4s to wound, +1.
White Scars, they love their brother Space Marines. They're
Yeah,
not they're not amazing at killing them because they, it's not what they want to do. They want to kill orcs.
Noah in chat asking if asking the hard hitting questions. Do we think these land speeders are overrated or
There's
the
a guy
real
left with
deal?
one left.
I think that the Tempests are the real deal currently.
Really matter.
Yeah.
They rarely get to shoot more than 2 times, but oh boy, are the 2
and
times
you
they
got
get to
Blade
shoot
Guards
really
swing on
powerful,
the
and
Primus.
they just do other stuff that's very important.
Yeah.
I think that they are a meta call.
Just gets-
I mean, they're
so he has 4 attacks.
fantastic into 8, like 3-up save, 2 in infantry. There are stat lines that they're just bad into. Like if you point these at just a tank line, they don't do anything.
Yeah.
But it's the correct meta call right now.
Yeah, I'm less impressed by the javelins, to be honest. But
Yeah.
just having 4 las cannons sitting in the back is pretty good. That said, you could, for the cost of the 2 javelins, just have a relic contemptor.
All right.
So that doesn't require a whole bunch of extra points of servitors in order to unlock its slot also. So
Yeah.
they're nice. Their speed makes them pretty useful,
Yeah.
but relative to the contemptor, lower toughness
And then I
and
got two from
inability to
Gate
be targeted by duty
Because-
eternal is
and that's
are
it.
a couple downsides. Not to mention that thing's just +1 to hit
So I'll get my
also,
CP to start
over
the
them.
turn. I don't score anything except for banners.
But having the speed is of course very important in 9th edition.
Yeah.
We're going
So we are back to Glarg's
do double
top of
advance
3.
Blade Guarvettes.
Scores 0 points for primaries. I think
Whopping 11.
not that it really matters here, but certainly could have towed back a Blade Guard veteran onto Objective 5 and at least accrued him 5 points.
I'm in Assault Doctrine, obviously.
You know,
A little bit of a
sometimes-
misplay, but I don't know if Glarg is it's really
There
playing
is
for
it
keeps
there.
here. He's,
Yeah, I don't know if that's pulling that game out, but
Yeah.
killing these tactical marines, let me tell you.
yeah, I
No.
mean the name of the game is to have Kosaro Khan just
Yeah, fuck it, go there.
just
It's fine.
blaze through an entire flank of
Oh,
the
yeah.
of the Salamanders army and
Okay.
kill everything that they have
Shooting
and love.
phase.
All he has to do is get to this Inquisitor and the servitors
The
behind it,
Assault Intercessors are gonna fire some
and then also
pistols.
these infiltrators,
That's like 1 round of combat for that guy.
and then also this
Hitting
land
with
speeder.
three?
Yeah,
Big
yeah. I mean, he has,
downside, but we are only down to 1 CP for Glarg, and we can't honor the chapter and just go ham on this whole army.
no,
Those
Khan
are
has a 0
five.
CP fight again though that you can cast multiple times.
Yeah, he
and
just
can
fights
move
like-
he moves
until there's
46
no enemies,
inches
yeah.
every time. So like,
Takes it.
you know, you can
Yeah.
do it.
Damage.
Entire wood.
Maybe we should
Damage?
give him some
Or no,
extra
because
rolls to
you're
help
still in
Glarg
combat, right?
pull
So
this game
it's
out.
1 damage, right?
Yeah, just one.
Karn just continues to roll attacks until there are no enemies within
okay.
range.
Yeah,
And then
he's
Kosaro Khan
currently
uses his
his
ability
engagement range is actually
on the
48
Assault
inches,
Intercessors on a 4-up
and
mortal,
every time he kills a model, he can make another attack.
take a mortal
Let's
on
just
the
see if he can do it.
Assault Intercessors.
All right. Done.
These guys advanced. The Blade Garvet will fire into the Prime Master Lieutenant. Misses. Cool. Although if I kill him, that's funny.
Nick Rose points
So
out,
yeah,
javelins are
that's
faster
my
to the
damage.
-1 to hit built in.
All right.
And I think people do sleep on people tend to sleep on speed or overrate speed. Like, it's that old Dark Eldar bike syndrome. You can go 30 inches and do nothing and die. Or you can go 30 inches and fire 4 las cannons at something around a corner that was previously hiding. And there's a huge value to that. Like,
Absolutely.
if the Contemptor has any weakness, it's the fact that it cannot get anywhere and has no ability to affect things that are on the other side of ruins. Essentially throughout the entire game. Like, it never will. Whereas these things, one turn, they just pop over, you fire 4 las cannons into a character behind a wall. It's like, there's a world of difference there.
JW with a good question. How are Blade Guard performing on the table?
Overwatch with
Are they good, or are you better off with Terminators, Vanguard Veterans, or Flamestorm Aggressors? I actually think Blade Guard Veterans are the sleeper out of Indomitus. I think everyone got excited about Assault Intercessors and these cool characters, but man, Blade Guard Veterans been sweet every game. And even as this White Scars army is getting blown off the table by Salamanders, we do still have Blade Guard Veterans holding their own on this flank.
Yeah, I was gonna say, fun fact, they're all that's left.
Yeah.
And they're still doing work.
And probably should have done more damage if we had made a rerollable 4-inch charge from those White Scars last turn.
Yeah. Or if we had not been keeping one of the squads on Objective 5.
Yeah, probably clear these 2 troops options that are in this on the table for an Objective 4 here.
I've seen Blade Guard described as sort of the key to more modern Scars, Space Wolves, and actually Blood Angels lists.
Yeah.
They just...
-3.
Yeah, I think the
they're like
difference
this perfect
between
stat line for their number of models.
Exactly, yeah. They're so efficient. 35 points a model for 3 wounds. And they're so difficult to kill.
Yeah, they're not blastable.
A lot of times, a unit will go in. A unit, even like Terminators, it's just 2 wounds with a 5-up invulnerable, and they'll go in and then they just get like trivially removed. They get smited or something and then die. But 9 wounds with a 4+ invulnerable, it's just so tough to tank through.
And you always want to take like 10 Terminators. There are so many like various incentives to wanting to just brick them out to maximize strats, to get all the special weapons they have attached. But then, I mean, 3 blast weapons picks up the entire squad. Like that is never the problem with these guys. There are so few things that are efficient firing into a Blade Guard veteran unit.
Yeah. JW in chat, they are also combo extremely well with impulsors. 2 units of 3 can go into an impulsor just fine. And Jaime Paris' list in Space Wolf's list in the Invitational is sort of built around that and has a bunch of impulsors in it to carry those Blade Guard veterans around.
Yeah.
It helps in that list specifically that the Blade Guard veterans also are objective secured. But they having the ability for 1 CP to heroically intervene them, which is the same for Blood Angels as well, is really powerful. You can just dominate an objective, and any chaff infantry unit that your opponent wants to send over there to OBSEC just gets heroically intervened into and minced apart by Blade Guard veterans.
I kind of want to go first with the Primus Lieutenant.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they feel like that's
just
better Wolfen.
We'll see if it matters.
Yeah, unfortunately, they are limited to 3 models per team right now. So it is a low model count. But,
3 hits.
man, 6 of them would be nice in the unit.
Well, I mean, would it? I feel like that's the 3 model squad is their strength. Like, the moment you hit 6, suddenly every plasma cannon in the world is just picking them up.
Well, you get 1 shot that's blastable, I think, into them. And
like
then
a boss.
Maybe you just take 5. But the ability to use strats on a larger unit of them could be very powerful. Like transhumaning those guys. So you're transhuman into a 2+ with a 4+ invulnerable. Just like, I don't want to deal with that. I just will shoot them.
So it's going to be 4 attacks.
I feel like the separation is one of their greatest. Although, I mean, you can take squads of up to 6. You can still take the smaller squads.
Hitting on 3s.
But
just take 6 and combat squad them. There's no downside. You could
take
take 18. Yeah. 18 Blade Guard veterans.
Yeah, can you imagine if there was just no squad size and it's just like a unit of like 55 of them just like trudging across the table?
Yeah, you just fill your deployment zone with Blade
They go through.
Yeah.
3 damage each.
I do not blow up.
Oh yeah, 5 in an impulsor with con would be sick.
Right.
Yeah.
So
At Valdor, you've unlocked
4 attacks.
You've broken
+1
the code.
for their relic.
Technically, you still can.
Which I forgot about last.
Just one of them just dies.
You got 5 attacks based
not-
into the Blade
I'm
Guard.
not sure that that's true.
It's not even it's not minimum
you
squad.
wouldn't be able to-
You literally own all 3 models. You just don't deploy one of them.
You wouldn't be
And
able to place them into. You wouldn't be able to start them in the
Master
impulsor.
Artisan
You would have to
here.
get
wounds on the Blade
pile
Guard
them
captain.
into the impulsor at the top of one, right?
Yeah, you have to like have one die because you just didn't put them on the table, and then they get in.
Yeah,
Being
you
alive.
you deploy the unit in a space where it's illegal to deploy them, I guess, and one of them just doesn't fit.
We're not even sure what that is.
Yeah,
Maybe
does
it's
that
just one.
work?
Maybe it's a 2-story ruin and 1 stood above.
Yeah, I don't.
He only has
Seems
3 attacks.
dubiously
Yeah,
illegal.
3 attacks, 3 charge. 3s. Oh no.
That's the best kind of legal.
And 3s again. Oh, that's the way it be. That is the way it be. Okay. Yeah.
Alright.
So,
Got those 2 tacticals. So sergeant, chainsword, other guy.
I also
And
love that
this
this
Blade Guard
Primaris
at the bottom.
Lieutenant is just a souped up
Master
Blade Guard
Artisan.
veteran.
Yeah, it literally is. It's all the same.
He just
He,
has
he
the
actually
same
has
stats.
almost the exact same
Like-
stat line as
Yeah,
the,
he has the same
veteran
equipment
sergeant.
loadout. Yeah.
And the same attacks
Okay,
as the
yeah.
veteran
Yeah.
sergeant.
So-
He's plus 1 to hit, I guess. That's pretty
Yeah.
good. And plus 2 wounds.
they didn't
But I like
charge
that he's
the free
dueling
taxes.
this Blade Guard veteran, and this Blade Guard veteran is winning, like, hardcore. Like, just kicking the crap out of this poor lieutenant.
3-1-1.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, the Blade Guard veteran picked his sword up. This guy's pointing a gun.
Yeah.
And winning on 5.
Brought a gun to a
At
knife
4,
fight,
6+1.
idiot.
Okay, AP2.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I was not expecting it. I was just expecting him to.
This aggressor
Why
just tanked
you
this
do
entire
this?
assault intercessor
I'm
unit?
sorry, I wasn't
No.
expecting this.
Is the dream dead?
Ugh.
Cool.
think so.
Yeah, so that's the end of my turn. So I will score.
Oh, and
2
Kosoro
more,
failed
bring
his
it down.
charge into the infiltrators.
He like
Domination
was
doesn't exist
placing perfectly
So,
between the Primaris Chaplain and the
on to your
Infiltrators too. I think to try
I'll
and get
15.
a charge into both, and then
I'll
hitting
get
with the
1, 2,
Infiltrators,
3,
and then
4
fighting
raise
twice into the
advantage.
Chaplain,
I'll
but
be at 4.
or the other way around.
You just can't do
Yeah.
that, so that would be bad.
Remove
Yeah.
these
I
guys out.
wonder if he was
Remove.
if he was considering doubling
These guys are
back to
gonna-
hit the aggressor sergeant if it survived,
Yeah.
and just didn't end up
You guys
moving
are
far
gonna
enough.
advance. They go 5 more.
So we are down to 4 blade guards for the White Scars on this
On the
left-hand
list,
flank.
I want to do that, and they're gonna move 15
Too
here.
bad that the White Scars are down to 0 CP, because I 100% would have used
Move
that
these
strat
guys
to try to
here.
kill the lieutenant with
You guys
Yeah.
here.
with a with the anti-fallback strat. Just for the
Feels-
rub-ins. Just try to roll a 6 to kill him.
We're still on
Hey, now
tactical.
some like you're out in the middle of the ocean, you're
Yeah,
punching
it's
waves
okay,
as they're coming
it's
towards
okay.
you,
Yeah.
and like you get a real good punch in there, feels good.
Yeah.
Okay, he goes here. Okay, he goes here.
So where do you rate the Space Marine chapters right now? Like, are Salamanders the
We're
top?
gonna steal with him as well.
Definitely. I think
So
100%.
Here,
Yeah,
and
it's,
then
it's
this
not even
aggressor is
close.
just gonna.
I still
Uh,
I feel like Ravens
Iron Hands.
are still way up there.
Iron Hands
We
probably.
just not seeing them getting played.
Yeah, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, the fact that the Space Marines as a faction, as a super faction, are so deep makes it difficult to sort of get
Psychic
results on all the
Phase,
different chapters.
uh,
But I think
Inquisitor
Iron Hands are
attack
still
point.
good just because of their insane resilience.
Agreed.
I think Salamanders are
He
probably
gets the max
maybe
light
a
off,
little
he
bit above,
does
but close to the same level.
1 damage.
Raven Guard maybe
damage he can
still
do
be very
himself. He
good.
does
Master
2.
of Ambush is like sort of insane.
So I think he does
Yeah.
one
And then
damage
that's
to
something that a lot of people haven't really considered. Not to mention that you can use infiltrators to as a pseudo
okay with
redeploy,
that.
which is
Yep.
which is
So
really
these
powerful,
Space
especially in the
Marines are
standard
going
GT
to,
packet, where when you're deploying, you don't know who's
pull,
going first or
shoot
second.
their bolters
So you
They
can
also-
deploy either defensively or aggressively, and if you, depending on how the attacker defender roll goes, you can then sort of redeploy almost your entire army.
Yeah.
Looking for
And then obviously
force.
the same for Ultramarines. The difference being that Ultramarines, I
5
think,
wounds
just
at
sort of
81.
has kind of mediocre damage output. They don't really buff their damage a lot.
Okay, cool. We're gonna fire.
Yeah, the
3
compressed
Eradicators
table
with
and the
Blade
fact that
Guard
honestly, like the most important
And
threat
you
range
can
is
get,
24 to 30
reroll
inches
1,
currently.
2, 3
It
from
feels like
Restoration.
people are sleeping a little bit on
3
Ravens.
hits.
Like
Yeah.
even if you do not get that first turn Alpha Strike, you are forced to
3
deploy in your own deployment zone.
Or
Like the redeploy
takes 1.
gives you the ability
This
to
one does
hide almost everything you've
5
got.
damage.
Then you just step forward and just lay waste to
Second
everything in
total
the middle of the
obliteration
table.
shot to
Yeah,
them.
and then Master of
Because
Ambush
it's so
obviously is just crazy. It's craziness.
Yeah.
3 hits.
There's also an
2,
interesting
3
case to be
1s,
made.
2 wounds.
You can, because the efficiency of different units in the Space Marine Codex has changed a lot. You can sort of
damage
play
they do,
around
damage kills
with your construction
other
with Raven Guard a little
Eradicators
bit
have
interestingly.
double support
For example,
range, same
in
thing.
8th edition, you would always, when it was
There.
legal, you would always Master of Ambush
Master
Centurions.
Artisan here.
And then it became
3
aggressors.
hits.
But now you can take aggressors and inceptors
3 wounds.
and
Make it-
decide on matchup to matchup which one is going to be more effective
Cool.
ambushing
Hit them
forward,
with
and then
that.
infiltrate
Um,
either with the deep strike
these infiltrators
stratagem
firing 10 shots
or
into
just
the
an
assault
inceptors and 8 deep
intercessor.
strike. Just brings the other one in later
Yeah.
against whatever you
And
need
then
to. I think sort of they have a lot of tactical flexibility that's very cool. And that's also kind of
Medium
cemented
on
by the fact that they're very
3s,
mobile in the pregame
Master
phase.
Artisan here. So that's 1 automatically wound.
And add Valdor. Of course, you can also
Fours.
concealed position the Eradicators.
So it looks like
After
Six wounds,
playing
I think,
Deathwatch for a while, oh boy, is our teleporting Eradicators just the nuts.
2 last hands and a con, 3 heavy bolter shots.
What a
and
crazy
assault
unit that is when you can
intercessors.
put it wherever you want
Yep.
on the table.
So 2 last hands and a con.
Yeah, that's a good call, Valdor.
2
That's
hits,
certainly one of the
looking for
strengths
twos.
of Raven Guard right now.
2 wounds.
Yeah, I do think Raven Guard are
Swear up.
probably
Okay.
Love them like
upper
a
middle of the
boss.
pack, just underneath probably
3
Iron
heavy
Hands
bolter shots into the assault intercessors.
and
Master Artisan
Salamanders.
on these.
And then
Hits,
probably,
infantry.
White Scars, Raven Guard somewhere in the
2
center,
wounds
and
if you want.
I would wager that Imperial Fists and
Alright, 2 more last
Ultramarines
hands and a
probably
con.
on the lower end.
Master Artisan here.
Although Ultramarines do seem
2
like
hits,
they
looking for
probably have
2s.
some game.
2 wounds and a con.
Fours. Oh,
How much
roll
damage?
double 1. Oh, just
Yeah, he picked up.
Well,
And,
three heavy
Inzuk
bolter
just
shots.
found a new pair of eyes.
To the other group.
Oh no.
Not the right
I'm gonna
ones.
use Master Artisan. Looking for 3s.
Yeah, are we down to
2
just the Assault
wounds.
Intercessors for Glide here?
both.
I think we are.
Right.
Oop.
Inquisitor is going to fire a bolter.
So we're just we have a couple minutes to see how many points Darkwind gets from this game.
And I save.
And Chaplin's going to fire his pistol. Master Artisan. He hits. Master Artisan for the wound. He wounds. Alright, cool. We're just going to assault with the
Hero Landspeeder. 3 wounds. He won the fight. He beat that Blade Governor up.
As you do.
He makes
I mean,
it.
being able to shoot a heavy bolter into melee is pretty nice.
Yeah.
To be fair.
But I'm pretty sure
We'll
he
just
did it with his
activate
fist.
him first.
Yep.
I think that's
Just
all
hit
I
him in the
think.
side
We're
of the
gonna
head
spend
when
1
he's, like,
CP for +1
Little
wound.
stairs on the side of it.
Yep.
So Ad
He's
Valdor
at 5 attack.
asking a good question. Why is Nick bringing in Inquisitor in this list?
And 2s.
It does a couple things. First of all, you have the option to get some CP regen from the list out of that guy, which is always nice. He also, even though you can't take Abhor, he gives you the opportunity to potentially deny rituals, which is sort of the other side of not taking any psychers.
Alright, Paul. I'm sorry.
So the upside is that you can take Abhor if you have any psychers, but your opponent's psychic rituals are
I
unstoppable.
didn't understand what you basically meant, right? But now.
Yeah, like a clutch
going through
CP
it,
reroll,
Yeah, I understand.
like double attempt to
Like,
stop a
there's
warp
no way
time
I can deal
is
with the land speeders at all.
feels pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, just because I didn't realize the Tempests could swing and just blow up.
So I mean, the
as
Coluxus is functionally
well
different,
as they
right?
did. I was
It costs
kinda
more
surprised by
points.
that. And then, you know, just the
Its
mobility of
bubble is
coming out on the other
smaller.
side,
It
being
doesn't
shot on
really
the
stop
Eradicators,
rituals
and the other
because
guy
it only
coming
makes
here and being able
the
to shoot
psychic test
on your
to
Eradicators.
get a ritual off up into a 5.
Like, that's
Like that's
that's the one reason why
it's not
I like
really
Eradicators,
stopping
but
anyone
I
from
don't
doing
like
it, you
Eradicators
know?
'cause they can hide.
Whereas
if they
the
don't
Inquisitor
hide,
is a lot cheaper,
if you
and
don't
you
have the
can
range,
potentially,
sometimes you get the
like
shot
Shuma
off.
mentioned, you could just CP
And
reroll that
on tables
that
like
deny and
this,
try to
there's not
spike
really
it.
anywhere
And a
to
lot
hide,
of times
so
you will just deny 15 points for
there's,
your
like,
opponent if you spike a
massive
psychic
firing
ritual.
range
Yeah.
into deployment zones from both sides. So,
Or stop
like,
a Cursed
I can
Earth.
fit
Or
Yeah,
your
clutch cursed
Eradicators
or
back
something
to
like
here.
that.
yeah, any number
But
of
even
And then on
they're
top
just
of
gonna
that, being
shot
able
from
to
your
upgrade
side
him to
that
give you
can't.
CP regen, I think is never.
Yeah.
I actually figured you going second would probably have been a better call. I was actually more worried about that.
I've lost every game going second, so I think going second just means you move into the middle of the table, and then I can't go and character assault you without getting shot by all the land speeders.
Because you have all the bikes too. That's also the other issue. Because what I was thinking, what I was worried about was, you put the infiltrators here, right, and double up behind this wall, and then you put the bikes. I could get here, but then you would just hide for 2 turns, and then you just come out like ferociously. I also think Salamanders just match up really, really well against White Scars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Your consistency with hitting and wounding is basically I can't compete with it.
Well, that and like the AP1, just like your assault intercessors don't come into play until turn 3. The outrider bikes don't do damage turn 1. So like it just counters really good swaths of the army for White
Yeah.
Scars.
And you're good in every phase and every turn of the game, whereas I take 3 turns to turn on.
Yeah, I
And,
mean,
like,
White Scars.
I can't hide my army for 3 turns.
Yeah.
Because like, if I went second and I had this side of the board, you would just score 15 primary the entire game, and I would lose on points.
Yeah, it's true because I'll do banners, 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 and
Yeah,
gate.
you would banners the entire side. You'd get 4 points for 3 turns at least, and you do domination. You'd max out that in 4 turns or 5 turns.
Yeah, that's fair. Wasn't thinking about doing domination, but assassinate just because I know I could like chip through and get to the characters too.
Yeah.
But it's true also. All right, well, good game, man. I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a wrap up from the players there. Looks like they discussed a lot of the same things that we talked about during the game. I think second player would have been a little bit better for the White Scars, but definitely Clark's fear that he would basically the same result would happen. He just gets to take less table space. I think is definitely warranted.
Yeah.
But without any indirect fire on the land speeders, the Salamanders list, basically just relying on the land speeders to get around the edge of terrain that would block line of sight to them, makes it a little bit dicier for the Salamanders because they don't have any way of stopping the White Scars from just chilling until turn 3 and then blasting their entire army off the table.
And like getting to those angles too. I mean, that puts the speeders in front and in danger against such a fast moving assault force as well.
For sure.
But I do think this was just an uphill climb from the very beginning.
Yeah,
the lists here
always
were
gonna be a tough matchup.
yeah.
For me, and I got 2 of them. I'm probably not going to place White Scars until Codex.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that, but like, I would agree. White Scars' worst matchup is Salamanders. They are the perfect counter to them.
Yeah.
Right. So I won't go too much, but like, my counter is Orcs. I have a huge problem with Orcs. I think White Scars.
Yeah, like any massive horde really, because you're like quality shots over quantity.
Yeah. I'm going to change some things. I don't really like the Inquisitor.
Yeah, and I think it stops you from getting stuff like Abhor the Witch as well.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen anyone play with Abhor the Witch yet for me to matter, but I just don't like the Inquisitor so much, and I'd rather take the other 2 5-man Intercessor squads and make them both assault
So
and
Inquisitor's what? How many points? 70?
60, I think, plus some weapons, maybe 60.
Yeah, you could upgrade your assault. Do you like the assault intercessors in Salamanders? Or is it just a points thing?
I like the assault intercessors against the orc fight, because they just cheer through.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, like, because they're 4 attacks apiece. So if I get 3 of them, I can spend 1 CP for winning on 3s, and spend another CP to win on 2s. Right, so like 3 or 4 of them will just clear out 15 or 16. If I need to fight again, I can do that. So 5-man gives me that option. I don't really have another option to clear out horde, so I think the assault intercessors are good for that.
Anyway, Nick, thank you very much for the game. I am going to cry myself to sleep.
All right.
Curse Trevi's name for the draws.
Well, I mean, he did create the death pod, so I would blame Trevi.
This was math. You can blame math on the death pod.
I do blame math daily.
Stupid math.
It is all Trevi's fault. It's all Trevi's fault.
Yeah.
It is all Trevi's fault.
I just wanted to knock out as many Space Marine players all at once as possible.
Yeah, but I think is it not all 3 are in one pod, or there's that?
There's 1 Space Wolves, but they're not really.
Oh, yeah.
They're not
That's
real
not
Space
Space Marine.
Every Codex Space Marine chapter or player is in Group 1.
I can't believe you did it. It's awful. Man, I should have just played Admech. I don't know why I didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway,
definitely.
I'm going to shoot off. Thank you very much for the game, Nick, and thank you very much for hosting Trevi and Shuma.
Thanks for playing.
All right.
Yeah,
it was all right. Fair enough.
I mean, I didn't the one bit. Trevi, do you want to ask anything or say anything, or am I good to head out?
Do we have any questions for Nick Shuma?
I suppose not too many. I mean, it's the wildcard list. Any thoughts going into the next round and what possible any meta calls? Like, you think you're just gonna stick with the Sallies here?
So I guess I don't know necessarily what next round's gonna be like, right? Like switch into, we cut all the eliminators down, so it's semifinals, so it's single elimination, so we'll have 4 matchups, like the 2-2-2, right? Just to make sure I understand, and that's
Yeah,
what we
it's
can.
yeah, it's a single elimination event, so 3 rounds. And you just gotta win them all.
Yeah, so Shima, I think I want to change some things. I want to drop the Inquisitor.
We were talking about that while we were going over the game too. It seemed like a bit of an odd man. Some commenters were talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I like him for the CP regen, but he seems to be unreliable, especially because you have 1 CP investment in place. And this might just doesn't come to be useful or anything. So that's probably one. I probably want to have another Assault Intercessor squad, honestly, so I'm probably going to change the other Intercessors into that. As much as I like the 15 shots, I just don't see they're really worth wild. I like actually kind of the Land Speeder Storm just because it moves fast. I don't know what I'll do with the other 60 or 80 points or so once I come out of that.
Would you try to fit an assassin into this list?
I don't. I guess I'd have to look at the assassins. I actually never thought about that.
Yeah, because I think once you lose your the Inquisitor, you have no denies, but you can take a Caluxes and still have Abhor the Witch open if you need it, but then also have a lot of any sort of anti-psychic if you need it, and then the ability to switch that guy out to whatever is better with the strat.
Don't I lose my Salamander tactics or no?
No, not since Psychic Awakening. Any army-wide abilities are not broken by both Inquisitors and Assassins now.
Okay, well that's nice. I knew Inquisitors were fine, but I didn't know about Assassins. Yeah, so that's an option.
That was a War of the Spider introduction.
Yep. Yeah, very late, last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I could. I don't know if I would take a Calexis or anything like that. But I could consider a Vindicator too or something. I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the other consideration. Yeah, I could just take another. I could drop the Inquisitor and just take a 3rd Javelin, or take a maybe look at a type of Dreadnought to have help with some of the hand-to-hand. I could look at those options too.
Yep.
Like that's the other thing I'm considering. I just like to have a threat.
What about a Judiciary in this list? If you're worried about sort of the melee punch, does that help alongside the Salamanders are so sort of defensively melee oriented already that having that Tempora Mortis on the table as well could be really powerful.
I mean, it could help with the aggressors too, right? Because then the aggressors just go, all right, I get to swing. I mean, that is an option. I could consider that. Not bad. I just don't know. I mean, like, yeah, with Morty and other things else too, that would be nice. Because those are some of the things I'm afraid of. I just had to think through that. I don't know how many points the Judicar is.
I think he's 85.
Yeah, so I probably have points to fit him in. I love this Primus Lieutenant, the Dominus one.
Oh yeah, we were commenting on how he's just a Blade Guard veteran, which is sick.
Yeah, and I forgot my +1 attack relic I paid for him.
Oh so, yeah, of course.
Like him running around with 6 attacks is kind of stupid.
Yeah, that's really good.
So yeah, I mean I think I have to play around with that, but I think I'm just gonna do small tweaks. Like I'm playing this in another game, in another league too. I haven't lost a game with it. There's been a couple of close ones, but not really. I actually really like the 2 Servitor squads. I think people ignore them, and they're just great to hold actions.
Yeah. Ultra. I've discovered out of my copter list recently, just the ultra cheap objective holders that can just hide somewhere on a list that wants to really take the midboard. Like, you need them because you don't want to dedicate anything close to a Primaris cost to just hanging back.
Yeah. And well, the other thing too is, Shima, I mean, they can do actions, right?
Yeah.
So them doing deploy scramblers or raise the banners, it just ensures that I have more of my points efficiently shooting down the board, which is really nice.
Yeah, I'm doing Nope, go ahead.
We're in a format that doesn't really have Thunderfire cannons and doesn't care about kill more. So having 4 infantry models on the table where your opponent has a tough time dedicating anything to kill them is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, basically it's look, what do I do with these 2 guys and the intercessors?
You could take the Inquisitor out and then put scouts to put into the storm. And you game all
No.
shotguns.
No,
Live the dream.
no, that's a bad idea.
But they look so cool hanging out of that storm.
They do.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so I think like this is like a 5 or 10 point difference just switching the intercessors out to here. Maybe I switch the infiltrators out to incursors. Like the infiltrators really haven't mattered for the 12-inch bubble.
Yep.
I've wanted them to. Maybe unless I'm playing orcs, but even still. And then yeah, basically this is what I go fix around, I guess. Unless the Primaris Chaplain on a bike comes out, oh my god, then that he's getting upgraded in a heartbeat. But
Oh yeah, that thing seems so strong right now. Just theoretically from what it should be, if it's just one of the bikes, but it's a chaplain.
can you imagine when there are 2 Salamander characters on bikes coming at you?
Gotta be
I mean-
careful with these guys though. They don't get blocked by the land speeders anymore.
Who cares? They're never gonna die anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you're like,
Oh,
go ahead, shoot him, please.
The bike chaplain will. Believe me, I've shot a few of those guys already.
T7 -1 wound, 3 up save. Yeah. Right.
That's
Maybe
just like,
I have to hide them, but still.
that's just 2 melta-guns.
Yeah, so we did have one question from chat. JW asking Nick, aside from orcs, are there any other factions that you think Salamanders struggle into?
Aside from
Salamanders.
orcs, I mean, orcs is probably the one just because of smash of guns. I mean, Death Guard, anything that's high vehicle, you just wreck, like AdMech or Death Guard is pretty easy. I think Tyranids are okay because they don't have the 5-up involved like the KFF does. They don't have the volume of fire, and then like if the exocrines come out, you can just shoot them. GSC is not a factor. Blood Angels you outplay because they can't do anything else with their +1 to wound. I mean, Space Wolves you outperform. So no, I really think it's just orcs. There's probably some other lists I'm thinking about out there. I mean, Eldar you do really well against too. Maybe Harlequins.
Sure.
Just because they can be fast and they can hit you hard.
Yeah, and
depending
you do
on
have a prevalence of vehicles that those Haywire cannons are going to like to see.
Yeah. So I would probably say Harlequins and orcs would probably be the 2. But you can play around that, right? Like a Harlequin player screws up, you're just gonna eat his lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
They're glass cannonly, and then orc players just have to play really smart. So I think I'm only really worried about like 3 or 4 orc players in the whole country, honestly. So, but those are the 2 areas that can be really, really rough so far. What I've seen doesn't mean I'm not wrong. I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of question marks in the format so far, especially since there's lists that like are in archetypes that are yet undiscovered.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Like so, like that's why I'm saying like, I don't know what else they really struggle with, but like I'm just not there yet. So, still a lot more time to go find out stuff. And then we have a new Marine book coming out too.
For
So
sure.
it's gonna be short-lived, if anything. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, Nick, and congratulations on the win. Sounds like that's probably gonna catapult you and Apostle of Ruin into the top 2 of the group.
Yeah, that kind of seals it because Dan has 2 wins and I have 2 wins. And we both gave Colin and Clark 2 losses.
Yep.
But yeah, it doesn't really matter what happens now.
Yep. So so congratulations to you and obviously to Dan on making it out of the group. That's awesome. It's 2 Salamanders lists that are almost identical making it out. I wonder what's going on.
I wonder. Dan needed a crutch. I felt sympathy for him. So,
Oh,
You
here's
know,
the question.
Shade.
my community act.
What sneaky list change might there be to help you win the mirror?
Ooh.
I wouldn't change anything. I will just. I just will know how to play it better.
You win the game of chicken.
Yeah, pretty much. There's plenty of other things I don't know if Dan will realize by then.
Oh, man.
Savage. Brutal.
He is currently weeping in the chat room right now. Just so you know.
He weeps all the time.
Rude.
He's a redhead.
Jeez. Mad shit. Oh, wow.
Last thing he said too is Nick Rose, you the best, and then just all this. It's just
Well,
this
yeah,
silence worm.
Well, Shuma, you gotta keep him in line, right? We're living back the 70s and 80s, so
Yeah, well, the opinions voiced by the players are not necessarily opinions shared by Tactical Tortoise and its commentary team.
Oh, oh no.
I'm gonna have to pull up a post by Trevor saying he loves Trump. 1 sec.
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite guy. All right, Nick. With that, we're going to boot you off of the stream, probably never to return. So we appreciate you coming on, and congratulations again on your win.
All right, thanks, bud. Take care, guys. Bye.
Take it easy.
All right, so that's going to be it for this game. We do have another game that's currently going right now, and I'm going to see. I'm trying to get into the players' lobby. I'm going to check in quickly with them to see if they are still playing, and if they are, then we're going to try to jump into their game momentarily. So stay tuned, everyone in chat, and I will be back with some more news on that front in a minute or two.
I guess I will just vamp on the mic for a bit.
T5S2 stands for the Tactical Tortoise Tabletop Simulator Tournament Series. It is a global competitive 40K circuit that ranks players based on their results in online games, including events run by Tactical Tortoise and many other communities. At the end of each biannual season, the top 16 players in the series are given the opportunity to play for the title of Season Champion and become the greatest virtual 40K player in the world in this very event, the Seasonal Invitational Tournament. With over 400 players and dozens of tournaments competing on the ladder in Season 1, T5S2 is now one of the largest and most competitive series in online Warhammer and shows no signs of slowing down. So what are you waiting for? Visit tts40k.com to view live standings, join the community Discord server, and get information on upcoming events and tournaments. There is glory to be won on this virtual battlefield, Commander. Do you have what it takes to compete? Want to get involved in T5S2 or events run by Tactical Tortoise? Visit the Tactical Tortoise Discord server at the link in the video description. There you can find signups for all manner of tournaments and casual games, including the T5S2 Youngbloods series of free, new player-friendly events designed to introduce you to 9th edition and give you a chance to experiment with new lists. For those looking for more competitive action, rapid-fire tournament pods are currently available that award prize support and standings points and help you hone your skills to a knife's edge. And remember to stay tuned for even more exciting events as Season 2 progresses, including team events, online GTs, and free weekly tournament pods launching shortly after the conclusion of this invitational on August 16th. Welcome to the community, and I'll see you on the battlefield. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the stream. We are live with the second game of the evening. This is Wolf on Mibu, aka Malchahofs, playing Phil Barfoot, aka Cryogen. Wolf on Mibu over in the red here with Triple Obliterator, Chaos Space Marines,
coming out of Iron Warriors. Both of these lists actually making use of the same combo, which is funny, but Wolf with a little bit more of a balanced variety, whereas Cryogen is it's basically just bringing 3 Lords of Skulls and is going to go ham on some people with some big axes. I'm joined again by Shuma, who now comes with some Doritos, which sounds very nice. How's it going, Shuma?
Oh, let me just...
Yeah, just can you get some in, right into the microphone real quick?
Oh,
Just grind them right in there.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Tastes good.
Oh, man.
I'm doing great. I got
I'm
Doritos.
hungry now.
I got 40K.
Yeah, it's a good evening, right?
Get some Mountain Dew.
We got 2 sick games at 40K between some good players with some wacky lists. I do love these 2 Chaos lists. I do like that we're sort of seeing the 9th edition version of this combo versus the 8th edition version. We're going to see who comes out on top.
Yep.
Right now, looks like it might be the Lords of Skulls, I think, as they slowly crush the other Chaos Space Marines to death. But let's talk about what's going on in this game and the list that these players have brought. Do you want to cover any of these lists, Shuma?
I can riff on it while you cover it. I feel like you've got kind of an old hand at going over these 2 lists now. This one, you're better than me.
Yeah, certainly this triple Lord of Skull list. You're not wrong about that. We have talked about it many times on stream. If you watched in Season 1 in 8th edition, oh boy, did Phil Barfoot pilot this list to many a pod win in the first, the 8th edition stint of T5S2. Holy crap, did that guy win a ton of tournaments. He propelled himself up to 3rd place seed in the season standings out of 300 people, number 3, basically entirely off the back of these 3 big tanky boys. We did see him play against the Chaos list, the hottest stakes Chaos list, in a previous game where he was summarily smashed, but certainly was close to tabling the entire hottest takes list. If it weren't for just unending hordes of Nurglings stopping him from scoring primary objective points, then I think he could have killed just everything. Just everything would have died.
Yep.
Now, I mentioned before that these 2 lists are based on the same combination, and that is a combination of this Master of Possession from Iron Warriors being upgraded with the Demonsmith Warlord trait, which gives you exploding 6s to hit on all of your demon engines and your demon units. In addition, if you're a Khorne demon, you can benefit, thanks to this Khorne demon prince here, from the Crimson Crown, which is a relic that gives you exploding attacks on wound rolls of 6. So what that lets you do, obviously, is roll your hits. If you roll any 6s, those generate additional hits, which you can then roll to wound to roll 6s to generate even more additional attacks with the Demonsmith ability. It's combined with Cursed Earth to give a +1 invulnerable save to all the demons who are already going to be in that Master of Possession's aura. To get +1 invulnerable save, and Infernal Power to let them all reroll all of their 1s to hit and wound. It makes them just deal a massive sort of spikes of damage output. And especially when it's combined with these Lords of Skulls, the Lords of Skulls sort of take it to the next level, since they are able to, when they roll 6s to wound with the Crimson Crown, make additional attacks with their weapons, and every time you make attacks with their big slashy axe, you can then triple that into 3 additional attacks, which can then explode again, and just generate sort of immense swings of attacks. So if you get a big roll off of these Lords of Skulls, we've seen them put like 50 attacks out in one phase, which is just massive, and they can just chew through basically whatever they touch. Not to mention that all of those combos work in shooting, so they are just going to shoot you to death sometimes too. And they are, being demon engines from the Chaos Space Marine book, they are eligible for Demon Forge as well. So you can give them full rerolls on all of those big, scary, punchy and or shooty profiles. So that is Phil's list is bringing that combo to work on these 3 Lords of Skulls, whereas Wolf Amiibo's list, Malch's list, is bringing it to combo with Chaos Obliterators.
Yeah, a bit of a strange mirror match.
Yeah, it is interesting. I would give, I think I would give the advantage to Wolf Amiibo's Obliterators, just because the Titanic units in general in 9th edition are really put upon by the mechanics of the edition. That said, I think I think these obliterators might be dead. I'm not sure. So there just may be none left, which would be bad for those.
It's a little bit hard to tell.
Yeah. So we're just jumping in this game halfway through. I think we are at the bottom of round 2. So we're not 100% sure what's going on. We're going to try to parse it through with you, the audience. We'll hopefully have fun hanging out and trying to decipher what's happening in this game. So going through the list in particular, Cryogen's list, Phil Barfoot's list, is obviously the 3 Lords of Skulls with their Gatling cannons and their Ichor cannons. I think the cheapest combination, no, the Gatling cannon is pretty expensive, but the Ichor cannon shaves a couple points off those guys. We also have so that's in an Iron Warriors super heavy detachment. Big downside of this list is that the transition to 9th edition cut like about 12 CP from it. So yeah, it is a little terrifying, the amount of CP you get. The stratagems that can be used on the Lords of Skulls are very important. You can spend a CP to heal them for a flat 3 wounds at the start of the turn. You can spend a CP to reduce the enemy AP hitting them by 1, and you can also spend a CP for Iron Within to give them a 6+ ignore. With so many wounds for these models, that can make them incredibly resilient. But when you don't have
for full rerolls, correct? On,
and
wounds damage,
of course, and then also Demon Forge, and if you really need it, you have veterans. There's a billion ways to spend a single
fight
CP.
Twice.
Yeah. The fight twice, I think, only targets infantry, so I don't believe that the
I believe is it not all Khorne marked units in Chaos? I didn't think they actually had a drawback on that one.
I'm not 100%
sure.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, it's infantry, but we can double check. But yeah, they have a million ways to spend CP, and not having a lot of it means that these guys are going to be pretty inefficient.
Yeah.
We also have a patrol detachment coming out of Chaos Demons in this list, bringing 13 Nurgling Swarms, a unit of 5 and 2 units of 4, as well as that Demon Prince of Khorne to get that delicious Crimson Crown. And last but not least, we have a Nurgle Undivided attachment, bringing a Master of Possession out of Iron Warriors to use that Demon Smith ability, and a unit of Nurglings. So obviously not getting the actual Iron Warriors benefits on that Master of Possession, but he does get to be brought in here in order to go with the Lords of Skulls. Moving over to Wolf on Mibu's list. He has, I think, we'll see some similar combinations here. Let me just open it up. And again, you can find all these lists over at tts40k.com/invitational, and you can find the current scores of the players as well, and our streaming schedule going over the next couple of days. Although we are mostly gamed out of the group stage. Almost all of the group stage games have been played, and we did just congratulate what is most likely going to be Dan Paolini and Nick Rose graduating out of Group 1. They do still have to play a game with each other, but I don't believe that can actually change the outcome of that group because they're both 2-0 currently, and all the other players have a couple losses to their names. So in Malch's list here, we have a single battalion detachment coming from Iron Warriors with led by 2 Lords Discordant, which is pretty interesting. I think the Lords Discordant lost a little bit of efficiency going into 9th edition. They just went up a bunch of points. They went up like 50 points, those poor guys.
Oh, you're correct. It is Khorne infantry or biker units.
Or bikers. Well,
or bikers.
All those bikers that we take in Chaos Space Marines.
The Demon Stratagem? Oh, no, Demon Stratagems cannot target out of Codex Demon units, so that would not matter that theirs can.
We also have, again, the Master of Possessions in this detachment as well. 3 units of Chaos Cultists to fill out the troops allotment. In Wolf on Mibu's game against Liam Vissel against the Harlequins, we actually saw him use those cultists to great effect, taking a bunch of damage on one of them and using Tidal Traders to redeploy it into his opponent's deployment zone and drop Scramblers, which was, I think, endlessly annoying to the Harlequins. And a really cool move from Wolf on Mibu. He's also brought 3 units of Obliterators with, interestingly, Mark of Khorne. That means that makes it so that the Crimson Crown combo can work, but it also stops you from being able to Endless Cacophony those units and double shoot them. Normally, with these powerful ranged units in a Chaos Space Marine list, you would take them as Mark of Slanesh in order to open up Endless Cacophony, but we're just not going to do that today. We're just going to shoot one time and make it good. We also have a patrol detachment coming out of just Chaos Demons Undivided, and that's bringing in the Demon Prince with the Mark of Khorne for Crimson Crown, as well as 3 units of Nurglings. 10 total Nurglings, 2 units of 3 and 1 unit of 4. A lot of Nurglings on the table. As we've spoken about at length, Nurglings, one of the most effective units in 9th edition, just because having an incredible resilience, being relatively inexpensive, and being objective secured makes them sort of the trifecta of greatness.
You know what they're not incredible against, though? Very specifically?
Is Lords of Skulls?
Yeah, a Khorne Lord of Skulls.
Yeah, you will kill the crap out of those guys, for sure. But that said, we have seen the 42 Nurgling list did does an excellent job at keeping the Lords of Skulls in their deployment zone.
Yeah.
So
well,
while
also
you
managed to one-round one of them, right? Before the Magnus just cut one in half before its first turn.
Yeah, you do. I mean, any Nurgling that touches the Lords of Skulls just immediately vaporizes. Like these big cow pitchers on the front can just be used to shovel Nurglings out of the way. The downside is that it takes a lot of effort to shovel that many Nurglings out of the way, and so if you sort of get bound up, which is a big downside of lists like this and similar kind of knight style builds in 9th edition, is that you just get overwhelmed by lists that are focusing on controlling objectives.
Yeah,
and there's no way to score primary points by killing a bunch of Nurglings, unfortunately. So. You end up kind of losing out on that. And we can see that a little bit represented in the opening score here with Wolf Amiibo scoring the max 15 points on round 1, whereas Phil is only able to get 10.
Unlike in that game, though, Phil has managed to leave his deployment zone.
He has. Look at this Lord of Skulls.
Yeah,
what a zoomy boy.
It's got some free motion here. They can go anywhere they want.
I know. So just before we started, we moved the stream over. We did see... one of these Lords of Skulls just plaster one of the Lords Discordant. Super duper killed it. It looks like 2 of these Lords of Skulls are almost dead, though. One of them down to 3 wounds. One of them is down to 7, and that was after a 4-wound heal from its Demon Engine rule and the stratagem to heal it for 3. So,
what that tells me is that there used to be Obliterators on this table somewhere.
I think that there used to be Obliterators. There are still 3 Obliterators inside this ruin.
And one just kind of hanging up back here.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think that guy's actually a casualty. I'm not sure that guy's there. That's from unit number 1, which is the unit in the building. One of the big downsides of Lord of Skulls, obviously, is that they are above 18 wounds, and so the obscuring keyword does not block them. So almost all of this terrain on the table, outside of these little area terrain pieces in the back, has the obscuring keyword, which means that all of it blocks line of sight to the Obliterators, but does not block line of sight to the Lords of Skulls.
Nope. And these
outside
are
of some of these, there's some areas on the table where there aren't really any windows or anything in the buildings, so that you will be physically line of sight blocked to them. But if these Obliterators just chill inside these buildings, they can see the Lords of Skulls, but can't be shot back, which is, I imagine, how 50 plus damage was sunk into some Lords of Skulls.
Interesting that there was such a split, though.
Yeah, it looked like it sounded to me, just tuning in late in the game, that one of the Lords Discordant went in to finish off this Lord of Skulls that's on 3, and I think just whiffed. Just a little bit too low on the damage.
You think it was an attempt to kill 2 Lords of Skulls in one turn, and
I think so.
It just killed into none.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, could still... especially since he has 2 Lords of Skulls pretty damaged. They are very slow, and you can just pick 2 of them up at once. They can't double heal. They can't sort of heal for 2 Lords of Skulls at a time. So it may be possible still to knock these 2 out, but it is a little bit awkward. Oh, no, not without the Discordant, though. That guy's just super Retro. But Wolf Amiibo does have to knock out this Lord of Skulls that's on Phil's deployment edge, because it is in line of sight of the Obliterators, so hoping Rampant Technovirus and a big Vet's turn from those Obliterators can kill that. It is going to give Phil the opportunity to heal the other Lord of Skulls back up to 7, assuming they have CP. Oh, never mind. Phil doesn't have any CP. Nobody has any CP, so we're just raw dogging it, I guess.
Yeah, no combos here. This is just pure math.
Yeah, I think you can spend that 1 CP to heal the Lord of Skulls for 3, which I think you do. And
could this Metro Possession just advance out there and just smite into the guy for 3? Demon Prince also pops over, and then the Obliterators just fire at this guy. There's a I mean, depending on how the rest of the string
Yeah.
goes, there's a good chance they could just pick out both.
Yeah, those guys are also untargetable. You do have to be worried that this the Lord of Skulls on Objective 3 just walks over and charges you. Oh, actually, it looks like this Demon Prince might be charging. Ooh, I don't know if I would do that. That guy's full wounds. Ooh.
Nah, I wouldn't go for that. I would
Ooh,
not go for him. Why him?
Yeah, not that one.
No, the other ones.
Yeah, kill the one that's on 3. You can kill that guy. Let's talk about the secondary objectives that we picked real quick.
All right.
Wolf Amiibo, interestingly, picked Titan Hunter in this game. What do you think about that pick? Do you think Titan Hunter is good against a list of 3 Lords of Skulls?
Well, not if you kill none of them.
That's true. That's you. You are not wrong. you will get 0 CP for that if you totally flub it. He does have 2 raise the banners. He does have raise the banners, and it looks like 2 banners out right now. 3 banners out on objectives 2, 4, and 5.
Yeah, I imagine that he'll have all 3 of those for probably the entire game. That feels like a very strong pick to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then domination. I don't know about domination though.
Yeah, domination could be a tough one. I don't know if we will see any more points scored on that for Wolf Amiibo.
Who owns these Nurglings in the back here?
I believe that those are Phil's Nurglings.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those are Phil's Nurglings. Over for Cryogen, he's taken Assassinate. All right. Interesting pick.
He's already scored a little bit of it.
I guess, yeah, there should be 3 points on Assassinate there because of those Discordants, and that's probably why. He has 2 easy characters he can pick up immediately.
Yeah.
And then just has to play to kill the other ones in order to get a decent score on that, although I think he can only get 12 off Assassinate.
And I think the thought is you have to kill the Obliterator brick anyway by the end of the game, or else you lose all of your Lords of Skulls.
Right.
And once you've
They
killed the
just
Obliterator brick, like
to kill
the characters are just there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, nothing in this army is particularly resilient. It looks like this Demon Prince is precariously balancing on this banner. That is a acrobatic feat right there, buddy. Yeah, so I guess I don't hate that pick. It feels like kind of a flex though. Like I'm gonna get 6 points for these Lords Discordant, but then I'm gonna table you and get the other 6.
Yeah.
We also have Grind Them Down for Cryogen. Seems like a very safe pick for this list. You're never going to lose more than one thing a turn, maybe, if that. And you're going to kill everything that's in your line of sight, typically, with these Lords of Skulls. So that makes a ton of sense to me. Interestingly, Cryogen also taking Domination.
Well, interesting. It's not a particularly hidden secondary selection there, so as these players are clicking these in, I got to imagine they're looking crosswise.
Yeah, I mean, that also feels like sort of a flex, right? Like
Yeah.
You have to, you're just going to tell your opponent that you're going to kill everything and like somehow get on 4 objectives with 3 Lords of Skulls.
I want to Sherlock Holmes the mental state of the Obliterators here right now. If you look at the location of these 2 Lords Discordant, well off the table, just thrown away.
Yeah.
That's perhaps a signal of a little bit of aggravation, maybe a little bit of just a lack of respect for perhaps the performance of these these 2.
Yeah, it sounded like when I was
Hoodmen.
joining in, Wolf Amiibo was lecturing his models on rolling better. So I think some things might not have gone his way this game.
No.
Dragon Beef in the chat making the comment that he's yet to see a Domination be good on 6 objective missions, and I absolutely agree. I think it's certainly better on 5 objective missions, and even the missions with 4, like Battle Lines, it's a little bit easier to score. This one certainly requires you to literally be dominating the board in order to score it successfully. So yeah, I'm not sure about that pick on Surround and Destroy. It's interesting that we have seen that in both games, like 2 games in a row, and this time by both players. So
yeah, I agree with Dragon Beef. In almost all my games right now, I'm just taking Engage on all fronts before I'm taking Domination.
100%, yeah, for sure.
Like you have the same models in the same locations, but you need like 1 less stable quarter.
Engage is a little bit hard for a list like these Lords of Skulls because just physically getting their mass across the middle of the midline of the table is tough, but Domination seems even harder. So
Domination is the same difficulty, but then with the requirement of being in a specific spot and then kicking other things off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like an interesting game. Definitely looks like it's Phil's to lose at this point, but with 2 Lords of Skulls on a combined 10 wounds.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think we just go like fully giant brain here and tap 1 obliterator into each and just trope to kill them?
No, I think if that was the plan, we needed the Master of Possession, and I guess no, the Cornate Demon Prince cannot cast because he's a Cornate Demon Prince.
Yeah, he doesn't have any psychic
No.
powers. Yeah.
So you needed the Master of Possession to bust out here, try and put probably the 7-wound Lord of Skulls down to maybe 4, and then tap into both. But like, that's such a risk.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to give that guy up because you have to remember that these obliterators are below 3 models, so they no longer block for the characters.
Yeah.
He's trying to send these Nurglings over to grab objective 2, or objective 3, which I love, but there's no way that this full strength Lord of Skulls doesn't just like totally pace them.
Yeah. Agreed.
But yeah, certainly he has to play cagey with his units now that the obliterators have been, looks like, mostly wiped out. I'm so curious as to what killed them.
I'm not. It was a Corn Lord
It
of
was
Skulls.
probably a Lord of Skulls, yeah, for sure. But like, did he drop them into a weird place and like hope to get a kill, like a cheeky kill or something? It seems like you could just sit everybody inside this ruin and just be okay.
Maybe they were touching the wall on accident.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We are, interestingly, sort of still in that phase of 9th edition where some weird gotcha moments like that absolutely could have happened. Yeah. We've seen players lose out on some significant points in the Invitational so far. Oh, looks like
there we go.
the 7-wound Lord of Skulls has been killed by the Obliterators.
If that was a 7-wound Lord of Change, he never would have died for the entire game.
Yeah, that's true. He would still be alive in 100 years. I'm going to send it back to the players' mics here. We can hopefully get a little bit of insight on what's going on. I do appreciate that it looks like this matchup will go very quickly from here on out. There's like 7 models on this table. Both armies have over 1,000 points left, and it's tied up in about 6 guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got another 3 for Assassinate. But none on Domination because that's 4 objectives, so I thought it was 3. It's probably my bad there. Right, okay.
So we're at the bottom of round 3, top of Phil's turn.
What have you got on this back objective?
Looks like Wolf Mibu
2 units cultists.
2 units of cultists.
Is going second, or it looks like Cryogen is going second. Wolf Mibu went first, and we got the big 15 from the Lords of Skulls, which is not a great sign for these obliterators.
It's getting to you now. That's the problem.
I think the obliterators are certainly sort of the board, the aggro matchup in this, the aggro player in this matchup, and not scoring 15 points a turn is not where you want to be with that in that seat. I do like the play.
I think these Nurglings do not, in fact, belong to him.
What's that? Oh,
Nurglings,
that these Nurglings down on objective 6 are are Phil's. Yeah.
8.
They are in his deployment zone. I would be surprised if Nurglings had crossed the entire table without molestation from these Lords of Skulls. But I do like that Wolf Mibu did recognize that he needs to stay live on primary and put 20 cultists out in the open. He's like, go ahead and shoot me, dude. You can't kill all 20 of us.
Some cool cultists over here too.
Yeah, I like that Wolf Mibu does. I think he turns all of his Iron Warriors models into a metal material in TTS. So they get this this like pewter sheen, and they sound like metal when you pick them up and drop them down. It's cute.
You're just stuck on 2, so it forces you out of your hole. I'm just thinking about what I want to do here, whether I actually want to move him any further forward or not. I'm thinking to Killy rather than the objective. They can definitely die. Nurglings can definitely die.
I will say that there is a danger here for Cryogen that these obliterators just go ham like one time.
And I don't
Like
think
certainly
these
they're
have
going to
got the
kill
guts
this
to
wounded
take
Lord of Skulls next
that
turn.
guy out
But
the rest of the game.
Obliterators plus like a cheeky charge from a Corn Demon Prince or something could kill Lord of Skulls. Especially when you have no CP to defend it.
Yeah, but with only 2, or with is there any CP
What's
to
your
attack with it? Oh,
range,
they're both out,
actually?
correct?
It's 24.
What's that?
Are
they're
they both
both out.
out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you don't have the roll. You don't have the reroll for the
Right,
stat
yeah,
line
the rampant
on the
attack
Blitz.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
but I mean, theoretically, you could just roll 5s, right? Like, just roll the 3 on the D3, and you'll start hitting. If you save that CP for vets, you hit that that Lord of Skulls 18 times, winning on 2s.
Yeah.
At potentially AP 3 damage, and it's like it gets really ugly. It's not a good chance, but it is a chance. I guess there are only 2 obliterators, so you're only shooting it 12 times.
Sets a shout never tell me the odds really loud.
Yeah.
Right on the microphone.
But 12 times could be 36 damage, and they only have 28.
Yeah.
So if you just convert 100%, easy game.
Not even 100. That's like 95%.
Yeah, and you are double exploding. So those 12 shots probably do
So
average
if he moves the extra
like
2
13
inches,
successful hits and like 14 wounds. So I am interested to see this obliterator list. It doesn't get based on Wolf on Mibu's
I don't think it really gets him where he needs to be.
results so far.
anyway.
It seems a little dicey, but I like
I think
I like the
touching this
combo. I think it's
objective is
cute.
probably the best bet at the moment.
For
I'm
these
going
obliterators.
to try and advance the Demon Prince.
As you know, obviously, I am a giant fan of ridiculous chaos combos. So
I mean, I think I was making after seeing the last game, I was making an obliterator list myself.
yeah,
Yeah, we were
purge
talking about it.
obliterator list, right?
Yeah.
So you could use it to fire into melee. I love it.
Yeah.
Like that's so cute.
Actually,
Like, what better than having your own 36 Nurglings than also shooting at your own 36 Nurglings? It's great. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's and you know what is a really good profile to shoot at your own Nurglings is like strength 9/3 damage.
No, I take the reroll and roll from the 3 back down to 1 again. And
Well,
then,
but you can't ramp
I'll
Technovirus the purge there,
move
buddy. Get out of here.
useful.
no, but fun fact: there is a power on the Master of Possession that is the exact same thing. It's a psychic power that no one takes.
Denise was playing it in his possessed list. Yeah, that was like controlled mutation or something. And
Yeah.
it lets you
Literally, all you
reroll
can
possessed
see is
attacks and
Nurglings.
flesh metal guns.
Yep.
Pretty good.
In all honesty, I'm probably just going to shoot at them. And then if I can't kill him, I'm just going to charge him. That's fine. Nurglings can always be heroically intervened into.
Yeah, the
if they
Master of
come this
Possessed
way.
is like-
So yeah, that's fine. The
We're Games Workshop. We have all these
Master
separate
Possession
units.
is
You know,
gonna try,
people aren't using a lot of them. They don't fit very well into
get over
how
this
games
way.
function.
So he's going to advance.
Let's just create a model and a psychic tree just for that model, specifically to make all of them gangbusters.
7 inches.
Call them out by name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no one in Tyranids plays Hormagaunts, Lictors, or Haruspexes. Let's put a special kind of Zoanthrope in with his own psychic tree. Every power only targets those units. And they're all
I'm
phenomenally
in.
powerful.
Dude, that sounds good to me. Give me that
Doable.
model.
I'm going to advance these Nurglings.
Although, I mean, in fairness, like, just considering chaos, like, holistically,
Yeah.
it makes logical sense that they would have just a dude who's good at, like, telling demons what to do.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like that position. I like that entire release wave of
What's
chaos
it?
where they're like, you know what? We're gonna focus in on the possession stuff.
What if we just made chaos like Space Marines, and instead of Primaris, they just got possessed?
Yep. Possesses.
Surely.
Possesses. Yeah, that was in Shadows,
Massively
right?
out
That
of
was
range
when all
if
that stuff
you're,
came out.
Exactly.
And that's when we got Dark Apostles, and that's when we got
You got that possessed champion that
greater
no one has ever put together or put on a table.
and we got Venom Crawlers. Those are cool.
Yeah, they're cool looking.
But yeah,
They make great conversions.
for sure they do make good conversions. For sure, I think the possessed sort of the possessed archetypes that came out of that made chaos much more interesting, definitely. And it gave us the possessed bomb for ages, for which I loved playing against because my army was really good against it.
These guys will.
And I am the mirror of that in that I am the opposite.
Nurglings there.
That list that list put me in
Very tempting.
like a dumpster and then threw that dumpster into space.
Then they're just going to get charged.
So do you this
Yeah, no, I'm
this
just
table
gonna leave those
state
there,
looks
that's fine.
totally untenable for the obliterators here. Do you think it is
yeah.
over for them, or is there a game to be played?
So
Because I mean, we've seen Wolf on Mibu; he will not give up.
I think
He will fight until his last nurgling.
Are you within
I mean,
24 inches of the
it'll depend kind of on where these Nurglings go. I think if there was to be a really strong chance at a victory here, I think it would have involved the Master of Possession jumping out and just tagging this Corn Lord of Skulls for
I
3
might
smites
move
or
him
3
over
smite wounds.
here before I start, sorry.
Yeah, and
That's fine.
yeah, and I don't love
Doesn't
this
make
nurgling.
sense
These
to
nurglings
leave
across the
him
middle.
in
Like I don't know
range
what
of
are they
you,
doing.
so-
They can block for the
Yeah.
characters, so you could
I'll
even
cast-
potentially sort of have the Master of
cast
Possessions go wide
first off.
and keep the Nurglings in the corner of the building and have him eke out and grab a
11.
smite into that
I'll cast
Lord of
Infernal.
Skulls.
All they're doing, it seems to me, is just giving another point.
Yeah,
and grind them down.
Point for
Yeah.
sure. Well, I mean, if they're
he still on
you're
2
just
range
gonna
at
give
the
up a
start,
grind
or
them down
3?
point because Phil's gonna kill one of these cultist units, and then that's gonna bring him to 2 kills, which
Did I
will
heal
beat
him
out
for his
the 1
wound?
kill that the
That's all right.
obliterators got. Yeah.
Fine. Actually,
What if
no,
these
I didn't,
what if these
'cause he was on
obliterators
2
truly
wounds
go
and went up
ham
to 3,
and
then he should be on 4. Sorry about that. He
we
has to heal the wound.
and they just
so
charge
there's
this
no
Lord of
choice.
Skulls?
Yeah,
I mean, you can see such things as the Colossus over here explodes, kills the Master of Possession, almost kills the Demon
I'm
Prince, and
gonna
then like
shoot-
what the Nurglings walk in and kill the Demon Prince. There's a few things that could.
Obviously,
There
everything
definitely
in
swing
this
backs in here.
direction
It's not
is
mathematically
damage.
impossible, but it does feel like it's gonna be pretty hard.
Yeah, only
Oh,
2 obliterators as your
I'm
damage
gonna
output kind of
shoot-
sucks.
That was a very
Everything
aggressive removal.
this guy
No,
into
he's
the
got-
cultists over here.
Just vaporized.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Ah, he wants to
Thrown
roll
right
this
off
one.
that table.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I don't see any demon.
Any what? Sorry.
Any demon smith.
No Demon Smith. I do
No.
have Crimson Crown, so I do reroll once to hit. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right.
threes
Maybe,
rerolling
maybe a
one.
lot of 2s. We saw not a lot of 2s.
Okay, so 2, and then these would be 2
I
up.
think these obliterators pull their heads back into their bodies like it's like a turtle shell. And that's like what they're doing right now.
And then 1 extra shot.
That is my headcanon. 100%.
That's their head cannon too.
So
Yeah.
8.
Psycho cannon.
Like someone makes a loud noise and they
Yeah,
just like kind of
I
pull back in. They're just like, "Mm."
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, these are the only 2 obliterators whose rampant mutations
I could fluff the
were
hits, mate.
appropriate
no,
for
not
that.
5-8.
For that level of survivability. That's why the other obliterators are all
Then it
dead.
would be
Yeah.
2s.
They were not able to pull their heads back into their turbo.
Yeah,
armor.
Cool.
But I think 12. That's.
So that is the Orange Eater Cultist pulled off the
So
table,
I
so that will be a
will
grind them down for
At the
Crygen.
end of my turn, 'cause
Yep.
obviously I'm not charging anything at the moment.
Yeah, the Nurgling
I
play was
will get,
baffling to me. Where were those guys going?
I
1,
don't
2,
even know. That was,
But no, sorry. What am I doing? 1, 2, 3.
it could be a
four,
play where the
five,
player's just
because I
like
killed more
scraping
again that
for
turn.
Yeah, I mean maybe he's like
anything they can do.
yeah, maybe the Lord of Skulls will just
yeah.
forget to shoot them and then charge them, and I get to counterattack
it,
with all
yeah.
these like corn dudes. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Cool, it's your turn.
10 more.
Yeah, it feels so much better if those Nurglings are still on the table to me because you get to, like you said, that Master of Possessions can just forego Cursed Earth because nobody's going to shoot back at them. Just start smiting.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3 damage smite off of that Master of Possessions right now to kill that Lord of Skulls would be so clutch. Oh no, it's on
Oh,
4
no,
now.
he
No,
got
it
him
heals
back.
1.
Yeah.
The worst.
You did kill 1 unit of Nurglings.
Would have been clutch. There was a moment.
If the Obliterators just stand more than an inch off the wall, the Lords of Skulls shouldn't be able to get into them.
Oh, fucking hell.
I might be concerned about the
Ballsy.
Demon Prince.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to block the Demon Prince, but the Demon Prince can't go over the obstacle, so.
Yeah, you would also just
What?
put the Nurglings in
Wow.
front.
Oh,
of
here he
them.
comes. All right, we're just going ham. We're just going to do it.
No, not into that one though.
was
We
unexpected.
went over
Okay.
this. Oh, I guess
Well,
let's
he
just
could-
shoot this other guy.
Yeah, so he's moving up to the wall to smite, so he can
How
smite
are we
into one
not
of them,
having the face
and then
off?
maybe
But
shoot
it's
1 and 1, and then try to kill it in melee.
Now you smite the one on 28. You throw the Demon Prince into the guy on 4, right? And then you shoot everything into the one on 28 as well.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, there's no interrupt on the table, so you can split your attacks pretty well. Yeah, I like that better for sure.
Smite.
Does the Demon Prince
Goes
have
off.
like that
You
soul
want to
gun?
deny?
No, he doesn't.
Where's
So,
your
yeah, the
MOP?
little soul bolter or whatever it is.
No, they took that out of the Demon Codex.
Oh,
in,
did they? That gun was
yeah,
so cool.
in the last chapter approved.
That's
Where is it,
sad.
sorry?
Which one? Here.
Sad, GW. Sad.
Sad! Exclamation
This
point.
was my attention.
Wait.
Yes.
Where did the Obliterators just go?
So you're
They are
spotting
the exact
that
same
guy.
color as the
Yes.
the area terrain that they're standing in right now.
Yeah.
So,
But they're not standing in the area
is
terrain
that-
anymore. Now they're.
Oh, so we went off on a 6.
Well, I guess they are outside
They're
of it.
next to the Demon Prince.
What I'm trying to say is,
probably- is he within
they're
my
shootable
range?
now.
Yes,
oh,
of
I mean,
course.
they're,
I moved
yeah, they're gonna
nearer
be
to
shootable.
you,
They're just gonna charge
this
this
position.
this Order Skulls and kill it.
And you've got one more spell, but
That's plan A.
yeah, fuck it,
That
I'm
would
gonna
be
try
quite a
and
swing
do that.
up.
Yes. Go ahead.
Are they also going to try and plow to this one on the left? Like you shoot the one on the right,
Thanks,
And
anyway.
charge to the left,
And
and like that's the Hail Mary there because they can do a
yeah,
lot
I
of damage
think
in combat.
I think so. Yeah, I mean they do some damage in combat. Right?
Shooting
They're just
phase,
sort of
obliterators,
crappy power fists.
Strength.
Only strength
9
6 is gonna suck.
AP.
They are pretty crappy.
Oh, here comes the Obliterator flash metal guns.
3.
We
Although
got two
they get,
threes. We got 2 3s. Yes. 3 damage. 3 damage.
3.
3 damage. We
They
did
get the
it.
extra. All right.
Amazing.
They get the extra attack though, correct? From being corn marked.
No,
So they define
Mark
five
doesn't
speech?
actually give you anything.
We have 1 CP left.
Lets
so
you
I
targetable
think
by corn stuff.
could
It just gives you the
do-
corn keyword.
Lame.
Veterans
It's
in
Although
only
they're-
it's
oh, wait, no,
literally
but-
only the Demon Prince of Chaos that gets a benefit from his marks.
Yeah.
Is the Demon Prince in a corn?
Within
No,
the-
because he has his own
Yeah,
Nurglings. What?
he's
No,
Yeah,
I'm
so
not-
he's not even
oh,
given
I
the look
could
at the
kill
Yeah,
him.
locus
he's
out,
in
is he?
undivided detachment.
Nah.
Well,
Oh man, are we just
Possibly.
gonna? Do we go ham now that these
it's up to
obliterators
you where,
rolled
where
all
you
in?
want to send your shot.
Let me tell you what we're about to see. A couple of 2-inch charges.
2 and 9-inch
yeah.
charge, 10-inch charge.
It's Blade Guard veterans all over again.
Yeah, no. Let's not recreate those Blade Guard veterans.
We'll
Oh, it's a
actually think
9-inch
they'll
charge
kill it
into
in
this Lord of
combat.
Skulls too.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay.
As long as
One of-
as long as
See if that Nurgle tree was back there though.
I
Their
will
purge.
say,
They can advance and charge out of that Nurgle tree.
So
we'll find
one-
Muba's playstyle makes for the most exciting, like Hail Mary plays.
That's right.
I don't
Yeah.
know how he does it every game, but it's so funny that he always has like a
14.
1%er to win every time. He's like, well, I'm getting smashed,
Well, then
but
you
if
can't
everything
use your
goes my way
CP
for the next
here.
round and a half, I'm gonna win.
Yeah, I know.
Let's
I
go
know,
face,
I know.
boys.
Damn it.
If you want to do the combat thing. And obviously, you're probably going to want to save a CP for the charge.
I'm excited for
right?
this
That
upcoming
blade.
2 Corn Lord of
Yeah,
Skulls
no, no, no,
explosions
no,
that
we
kills
don't-
the
we
Demon
don't
Prince,
have-
Master of Possession, other Demon Prince, and
will
both
also
Obliterators.
take
Tables
out
fills
because we
list,
will
yeah.
have
Yeah.
Karma.
It's
Karma
gonna kill
and
both
all,
Demon Princes.
you see
Yeah, and then
what
it's just
I have
like-
here, and I will just reach you with
You know,
advantage.
one Master of
So no
Possession
problem.
and a Cultist Squad versus like 2
one
Nurgling
guy
squads.
shooting into this Lord of Skull,
One
and
into
one
yeah.
guy is shooting into this Lord of Skull. And
All right, we're gonna split fire between the 2 Lords of Skulls.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Not like this.
Not tank hunters. Interesting.
No,
This
tank
is-
hunters, because I
I
don't
assume
need
what
tank
happened
hunters
when
because
wrong the
with
first
veterans,
turn.
I'm winning you on a 2.
One at a time.
So we
we're rolling.
veterans to win on 2s.
Okay, yeah.
Into the damaged Lord of Skulls.
Oh no.
Ones.
Oh no.
Well, this is at the low wounds one. It's okay.
Okay.
Winning you on 2s.
Oh yeah, I guess also they were hitting on 2s.
I'm not sure where their 2s are coming from, but
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Extra
Yeah.
attacks.
Oh, that was a good
Veterans?
conversion though. Holy
2
crap!
more
Now
hits.
veterans only +1 to
Winning
hit.
you on 2s.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have 7 wounds.
Maybe we familiared into prescience earlier in the game. That might have been what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, super kills that. Oh, explosion.
Do it. Oh no! Oh no! All right, I'm looking this up.
It's
How,
a,
how,
it's a 2d6 range for
have no
D6
idea.
mortals.
No, it's 2d6.
Oh.
For 10
Right,
inches.
okay,
Second to hit the other class.
Is this
outside.
happening?
It doesn't quite hit the
Yeah,
Demon Prince.
outside.
It doesn't hit the other class. It does.
good. Yeah. Damn it. Right,
Oh
Did he
my
miss? He
god.
missed his
Models
own
or
obliterators
just
by an
D6 models,
inch
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Are you starting?
Are you kidding?
See,
Uh,
suddenly that
I'm
long
fine.
bomb charge doesn't look so bad, does it?
Oh my god. This game.
Okay, so he's alive. So he's got 3 wounds left.
Alright, 2 on the Master of
From
Possession.
Demon Prince.
Ah.
Yeah,
Wow.
if he had died,
Never
that would
mind.
have been so sick.
Yeah.
Let's do a 6 on the Demon Prince here. Ready? Boom.
Oh.
Called it.
2.
Oh
little
man.
bit
And then a
more.
6 on the Lord of Skulls is what we need
And
right
the
now.
last Lord of Skulls.
Oh, it's 2.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Alright, that was much less of an explosion than was hoped
He's
for.
the one
mean,
that will be
that
hard
was
to
still
shift,
sick,
I think.
Yeah. 100%.
Of course.
All right, now this other obliterator just needs to roll a billion 6s.
6 hits.
He rolled all hits. Did we?
And
one of those? Or
two.
Did we just forget to explode our attack?
So 6 wounds and 2 additional
Seems like we forgot.
shots.
I guess we just forgot.
No, 3 additional
Alright.
shots. Veterans.
Oh, we're adding more dice here. That looks like we're remembering in hindsight.
You on freeze. Hitting you
Alright.
3 times. Wounding you on 2. So 9 wounds. 5 ups.
Ooh, alright. What was the damage roll on this?
3.
Oh. As this
So
slowly comes
12,
out.
12
Here, there's.
wounds.
Oh.
Fuck.
Did he fail all of them?
He made 1, I
That's
think.
not good.
Yeah,
Did
it
he just-
was 9 wounds, and he failed 8.
Probably good.
Okay,
he's
so
got
actually
2
this
wounds
is just
left?
straight live.
Oh, man, you've
Oh,
got hot
okay.
all
Well.
of your,
Oh,
Oh.
don't tell me I rolled hot. Now after the last 2
You're
turns.
not, well, you've got 3 damage on more or less.
Yeah,
all
we're
of
So
just
what-
like,
what
silly
now,
little
the-
fun
Free,
Mibu
free on
with his
so
1
much
percenters
stuff.
that apparently happen every
You're
time.
right. I always got
So what the-
one unit with
The Demon Prince now
Never
needs
had
to
one
flub
damage.
his charge, not to just
Never
dice,
got it.
like just to completely obliterate this thing.
that
Huh.
and
This is why we make our cursed earth rolls, kids.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So yeah, just
And,
double checking the rules here as well. The
Demon
Crimson
Prince
Crown
and-
explodes on wound rolls of 6+, which means veterans improves it to 5+.
Yeah.
don't have
Oh,
it, right? So
God.
we just need to not fuck up this.
He
The
failed.
Lotus
Oh,
Skulls
that's
is
his
I
roll.
hate this fucking game.
Did he snake eyes the
He
charge
snake
roll?
eyes the charge.
No, he needed
He's
a
out.
3.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, he's not in the solo corn attachment, so he doesn't reroll.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so no worries. We
I
just,
mean, in
have to
fairness,
roll a 10 or
We just
11
did
with obliterate.
26 wounds with that Lotus
Oh
Skulls.
my
You
god.
gotta, well, you win some, you lose some.
No.
Where's he sourcing this reroll from?
Right,
I think
okay.
that might have been from the
Wow.
obliterators.
Oh, I
Yeah,
don't think
Because
so.
it's in charge.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess no, because he's not moving
Yeah.
this model yet. Yeah.
Alright.
So a thing that happens is the Colossus
Can
gains a ton of
get,
attacks.
master possession
Attacks when it
going
gets
here.
wounded, yeah.
He kills obliterators in shooting, attacks the demon prince.
Does not bracket on ballistic skill. Its guns are just as good as before. So he is now flipping
Well,
over all of his
mine
own models.
start
Correct.
pushing out
That is the
now.
correct play. That is what's about to happen.
Because I've
Yeah.
got, like, what is that?
Ooh.
It does
Yeah, you can
lose.
even use the
strength,
demon
importantly.
prince to the master possession.
So
Nine-
the Lord of Skulls
nine
actually,
object
it doesn't
nuggets,
wound quite as
so,
well
yeah.
on the T6
And
stuff.
or you can just
think it goes down to
shoot
5
them
at the bottom
and,
bracket.
I think the game is over.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like
Yeah.
Oh.
Because
Make him roll it out,
would have
man.
shot.
Maybe you
and
just roll a bunch of
charged.
ones so that you win.
Yeah.
That'd be sad.
Yeah, the cultist are dead, and the master
Demon
possession.
Prince would have
Demon
gone
Prince.
into him as
Oh,
well.
after that, like
yeah.
1% or 2.
Partial
he
possession would have
did,
moved on to the
in fact,
second.
Blade Guard veterans that.
And then these guys
He's
would have
straight
taken the string out, so then,
Oh, I
possibly-
jinxed him.
Just
I
two
don't know.
two obliterators standing on the corpses of
Yeah.
1,000 Lords of
Okay.
Skulls.
Yeah.
But that's also at the start of my turn.
But it
I
looks
would
like.
have started
Actually,
15
are we
again,
playing
so-
this out or what? What's going on here, players?
So
would
he
it-
flipped
what
over
would
this
it
master
look
possession
like,
back here, but all this
15
master
and
possession
then
needs to do is walk over and smite
probably
this dude.
15 again.
That's all he's ever needed
Yeah,
to do.
no, I think he prescience the obliterators and then infernal powered.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think. He
No, but I mean, like, next turn.
Cast his might.
Yeah.
like next turn. Even if he loses the
Okay,
Blitz
obviously, I
and the Demon Prince, I mean, this guy still has play into just
down
wiping out this guy, and
definitely,
then it's just.
that's,
I guess it's competition to see how many
You could-
objectives one.
Well, you could
one
kill all
holds.
4 of those models.
It's closer
pretty
than you
easily in
might
this turn,
think,
right?
because like
If you just like shoot
obviously
the Ichor
this
cannon at
turn,
the master possession, it only
obviously
has
you
2
would
wounds
have
left.
got-
And
Was
you,
he? Oh, yeah, he was touching the
he's
wall, so he came
your
line of sight.
next
Yeah.
turn, probably only 5.
Although I don't think he
guess,
needed.
'cause you
line
still
of
would have
sight,
been
I'm
on the
not sure why he
backfield objective,
Because he
wouldn't
didn't
you?
smite.
Yeah.
Did he line of sight for the powers?
I would
believe
get 5 in my last turn. I would get.
Inspiration's not in line of sight?
Are you killing? Are you?
No, defensive. Or
I know you
buff
got
powers
another
like that.
5 here, mate, because you killed another.
Tans man, same thanks for the sub.
And I think
Welcome
I get
to the channel.
more points for race with Venom's
But I
Hide.
get another.
Oh, that was
3
such an
for
explosive end of that game.
assassinate
Literally,
for
Yeah.
him.
Lord of Skulls blew up.
MOPs.
I'm
still
so
knocking
sad it
about
didn't swing
somewhere,
all the
isn't
way
he?
back around. That would have been so
Master
cool.
possession.
Man, obliterators are sick, dude. What?
I've been everyone's all just like Havocs all day. Havocs. I'm just like no.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, 90%
One
of
word
the
for you.
time, when you need them to
I
do
think
exactly
I'd
what they
get to
just
a
did, you just
stage
roll
where
like
maybe I'd
strength
get
7 1
domination.
damage minus 1 AP. And you just want to kill yourself.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, but I mean, the
know,
games we've seen
like,
from the Havocs,
we
you,
wouldn't
the
win
alternatives, you
that,
just roll
Oh,
4
yeah.
ones
The
to hit.
Havocs are also
Just
like a
even-
third of the cost. So.
Well, like if.
But no, they're the same cost. They're actually more.
So
Oh, I guess it's a Havoc
Yeah.
versus like one Obliterator, right?
Mm.
But then you got the
Domination
Havocs, you have
would
to
be
sit it next to
4
like a Sorcerer, so then you're up to like
objectives,
200
that would
points, then you're giving them like a Rhino or something.
Chat, they may just be
the
mathing that this
Nurgle
last Lord of
stringing
Skulls
out to
dies.
here,
Yeah, and I can
the
double up,
I think there's a
MOP
non-zero chance
moving
that
up
it just
to-
gets killed by
to
something
there.
random.
Yeah.
What would it get killed by though?
Oh,
Like
the
if he
Nurglings
doesn't
would
kill
be
the
there
Master
anyway.
Possession, he could just
Yeah,
grab
yeah.
it.
I'll have
But
pushed
in the
onto
last
this
one, you
Yeah.
get, you get
Also,
one
yeah, you
combination,
just
I
Vet's
think.
Cultist,
Yeah.
right? Like when you're on
which would
fast.
just about clinch it. So
Try to get 2 wounds on it.
Yeah, and I get, but I get.
If the mop comes out and smites
4 more
him,
points
then
for Raise the Banner's
the
High.
other Cornet Demon Prince pops up, just
4
walks over and
more.
pops that guy
Yeah,
though.
because I still point one.
Well, he doesn't need to.
one time at the end of the game.
He can run away and smite because he can see.
So
the
do you get
Uh,
me?
Oh, yeah, through
out
the
of
wall. Yeah, yeah.
Objective 4 in this turn.
Lord of Skulls could also
depends
just
on the
back up.
advance roll. Oh, so that needs to happen this turn, does it?
Yeah, this needs to happen this turn. So.
They're spending so
or
much
I
time
get
talking
3
through this turn. They
points.
could have just played both the turns by
I
now.
know,
Considering
they
how many
could've
models
just
were
played
here.
this
How
whole
many
game.
turns did I have left then? That was.
I think they mathed it out and then realized it was really
that
close.
was 2 left, didn't I?
And they're like, wait.
No, why are you giving me 15 points for Titan? That's...
Because you get 10 for killing one
no.
Titan.
Still just do it.
That
Just roll the
changes
die.
it.
Roll it.
So we
Flip
don't
turn.
because I just get. Would get
Oh, I
5.
thought. Oh, it's only because in the rule book they said it was 10 for.
Yeah, it's
one
in the rule
Titan.
book and in the tournament book. That's something else. So I
Oh,
would,
okay.
would have needed to kill.
Titan would be 10, I think you'd have got for that.
4-inch charge.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
whole
but that's
fucking
also
game. Sorry, the
24
whole
wounds
fucking
with one obliterator was obscene. I was just like, what?
It was not obscene, it was clearly average.
Really? Sure. yeah.
Sorry, just took a
Good
little
game, man. It was tight, obviously.
Yeah.
It wasn't like just straightforward.
Can you reach with the Nurglings this round here?
This
Just roll your
one-
advance roll and then we will see.
Okay. Does that lose me the game? Does that lose me the game?
I have no idea. Well, if you don't, okay. If you don't,
So,
because when I get 3 points and 2 points more, so this would mean I end up at 80, I think. Yeah, I end up at 80.
Okay.
Yeah, Titan Hunters is 12 for 2. Oh, yeah, you got it.
Yeah. So I would end up at 80.
Oh, so you still beat me, mate, anyway. So.
Yeah. Oh, such a dumb game.
Oh, wait, did Wolf pull it out?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Never mind.
Yeah. Never mind.
Won't even win it when it looks like I'm winning.
Yeah. This is like,
What
I
is the
think I have
result
to
of this
work.
game?
I
Shane?
just have to train with this list
I
because
don't
my
know.
first
I don't know what's happening
turn.
right now.
With me not really knowing the obscuring role or remembering it wrong was so dumb.
Or we're just
Losing 2
determining that
units
this
of
one cult
obliterators
squad
to
somehow
it.
snakes out and just like wipes out
Ah.
everything.
Yeah, because that's the problem
Kills
was
the
you just like
tables
went
you loaded
into
on
the
them.
terrain with this unit of obliterators.
Yeah.
When what you should have done
And I was thinking, here's the wall in front of me, and the wall is obscured, but of course it's one model. Yeah. So for all the guys who maybe wondered where are the rest of my obliterators.
So
I
you
thought
just to confirm with Razor Banners, you raised it obviously on this one.
Yeah. On this one, on
Which-
this one, on this one, and on this one.
So the Master of Possession on my turn would have advanced up here. How far does he have to get? He would have had to get a couple of quite high advance rolls.
Yeah, if you get this on
Well,
your-
unless like I just went
but
this
you
way.
have but you don't get this. Yeah, you can just roll for it when I get 1 point less in the turn.
Well,
and
like
the draw.
this would have been 2 turns. Like how many turns were there left? Yeah, I had 2 turns left. So from this position,
Mm.
so technically the Demon Prince could have gone this way. I
Yeah,
don't
he
particularly
could.
need him at the
But
moment. So
of course, my Master
This
of
is the
Possession
swingiest
survives.
endgame I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, they're like
Still
they're
have to
past
kill
the
these
point
guys
of
in
like
this turn.
swingily playing high risk plays, and now they're just doing like
I'll
high
see-
risk
I
philosophy.
guess. Do you want me to make the advance rolls to see what I
Like
can?
they're, like, they're playing this.
Yeah.
They're playing like
Advanced rolls
3D
every
chess.
table
They
to
just
get
went to
on
like the
the
next
Master
chessboard up
Possession
that
now
we
you
we
mean,
can't
or-
even see. We're like
Master
we're like
Possession,
fish
yeah.
who can't contemplate our
First
existence,
advance
and they're just
roll.
discussing the game at higher planes of
Fine.
Yeah.
perception.
Yeah, this is some 5-dimensional 40k, everybody.
Yeah. A thing's moving.
And
So I think we're going to see if this Master of Possession can break the banner on Objective 2, because I think that brings the game to a tie.
Watch them then,
He's
like the
minus-
Lord of
he's
Skulls just
-2,
shoots and completely fails to kill anything.
Yeah.
Just rolls all once. And like blows the game wide open.
Yeah, like make him roll the Lord of Skull out,
Right,
man.
So he's definitely on.
Playing-
there.
Those
playing
obliterators
perfect-
in cover, dude. They have a billion.
So he goes,
They're like impossible to
he
kill.
fucking- he fucking
You ever
gets
played
that
perfect
back,
mathematical
back,
averages,
back,
Hammer?
back and go
Where
away.
you don't actually roll any dice and either to your opponent, you just do what the mathematical averages would be for everything.
Yeah, I've not done that. That's
It's weird and dumb.
Were you scoring another point? Oh right, so it's a draw.
Yeah, it's a draw.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, Phil.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And it was 2 straight up
Well,
advances.
we
Yeah,
can-
2
okay,
actual
if we
6-inch
can go sit at the
advances on
bottom
the
of
Master
the
of Possession and
thing,
get him to
that's
objective
fine.
2. What?
We just sit at the bottom of this group together.
Oh my god. Wolf on
I
Mibu
think
was
if he'd have
first, so
died
he
in
would
the
score his
explosion,
banner
then
before the Master of
Maybe-
Possession
maybe-
gets to
maybe if
objective
your
2. He
lot of
just
guys
doesn't
in
score
the first turn
the
would have
banner
just
on
died
2 at
that he
the
was
end
supposed
game
to be,
trigger.
or the second turn. Or,
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
The forests are not difficult, only the these
yes.
little spiky rock bits are.
What if this Colossus on 2
I'm
wounds
just
died and
thinking
also
there's
exploded
no,
though?
the
Yeah,
way you
just-
position-
Just tags the
to be
Master of
fair,
them
the
up
way
for
you
the
position
Yeah,
the
Wolf is like,
tree,
hey, I got a
shoot them
CP.
off
Let's vets
anyway.
these cultists.
Yeah.
Just kill that dude. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Because you've positioned them in the terrain. I believe that's right, is it
No,
not?
it's
Toby?
the terrain is not obscuring, so.
This is like looking at a car crash, but
Yeah.
the car is
So
like
I mean,
it
he
keeps
would have
looking
been
like it's
shooting
gonna
at
bounce
them
off
anyway.
Yeah,
both
the last-
sides
Like
of the
on
road.
the last
Like it's
turn,
hitting
yeah.
one
but you
guardrail
don't
and then
get the
skidding
effect.
onto the other guardrail, and it's like gonna go over a cliff,
Huh? I
but
don't
then
get
it
you
like
off here.
slides back into
before your last turn.
orphanage.
Yeah, so and if you get me off here,
And
my,
it's like
my
you just can't look
obliterator's,
away, man.
Kill.
Like, you know those Robert Downey Jr.
Because
Sherlock
you can
Holmes
think you're not
movies?
able to
Yeah.
kill both
Where like
obliterators
it
this turn.
suddenly slows down and his
Oh,
eyes
I
just look at
see what you
everything
mean.
around him,
So
and then
they
like
have to
the
obviously
camera just shoots to like 15 things around the room,
Yeah.
and then suddenly he uses them all for some weird kung fu move.
Yeah.
Prince,
And it's like-
obviously, will,
Yeah, that's just what's happening right now.
objectives.
Absolutely.
And then on the last turn, I shoot these guys. I don't know what that does. Oh,
Straight up
That-
theory.
on
yeah,
the
I'm
last-
playing right now.
On the last turn.
the last turn. I would
Yeah, these illiters would have made that charge.
Oh, God,
It
the
had
end
the
of this
miracle
game
tree
was so
though.
sick,
That's
though.
for me,
Yeah.
So I get the last 3 points of flying them down.
Wolf on Mibu has
Oh,
to
we
probably
don't think
has to
about
be
that.
the most fun
Yeah,
player of this
yeah.
entire
So
tournament
Phil,
to
you
watch.
get a win.
He's always fun and
Again,
cheerful, but then
we're-
also
we're
he always
not
is
going
just like
through.
he paints
Anyway.
himself into these corners where he has to make like
Yeah.
5% plays to come out,
okay.
and like somehow they always almost work.
I like the draw more, so you say you.
My crazy
what
plays
to
work
do.
100% of the time, 5% of the time.
Yeah.
12, 7.
Yeah, when we had him on stream yesterday, and
Well,
he
yeah,
had to
he's-
kill.
He made his advance.
he had to
so
kill the
he did
Incarn with
that.
2
Like,
obliterators.
obviously, I rolled for that.
It was like the
okay.
same,
The
the
last
exact
turn,
same
the
thing.
last
And he
turn,
did
yeah,
it to the
Like,
wound. He did
like,
it exactly. It
goes
was like the
1,
exact
2,
same
3,
situation.
4
Yeah.
inches to
What a
here.
boss.
Because obviously he's up to 3 wounds now.
Are we gonna roll out this Lord of Skulls? Please roll this.
Doesn't care.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guess,
come on, I wanna see the actual.
probably what you'd want
We
to
could've
do is
played the
roll
entire rest of the game by now.
I know.
Stuff for
Ah, well.
the obliterators.
Yeah, because if you don't kill them, I'm able to
If I
kill.
whiff the obliterators.
Yeah, I'm
then-
able to kill one of your units.
And obviously your master possession might be
All the
outside.
master
yeah, we're
possession
realizing that if anything
just
dies,
smites
it
and
could,
yeah, I think. Oh, let me
deny
just
it,
roll
grind
if
them down.
I get the smite through
Just play the game.
because you're not killing the master.
Because my MOP
Yeah.
would have still be within 24 inches at that point.
Yeah. So my master of possession against your master of possession, and
It's
we
weird
could
that these
just
are
look
2
if I'm
cornless
able
because
to
this
give
is
a
some
lot of
gene
skulls
scene
and this
shit.
turn.
We're just winding back time.
So you don't get grind them down on the last turn. They get a 10.
Yeah, well, I mean, Korn, ever
you
since,
you're in the deny range.
you know, Korn is in that car accident called the Demon Codex, you know, he's really been trying to search for
Okay,
other things
So
to
you
do in
need
his
to
life.
Through for
5
D3?
or 6.
Alright, it's one.
No, again. There we go.
Oh yeah, you can't see through
But I have a CP to reroll this.
I guess just
think.
long-range shooting
Which
lists
means
have
that's
been
what you
like
would've
Korn's
saved it for,
his
I
new
guess.
thing. You know, he's
For what
dieting,
else? Deleted.
be good at shooting stuff.
No, it's
Two,
not enough. He would have
and
been on
you-
1 wound because he would have healed a wound at the start of the turn before.
At the start
on
of the
that-
turn.
on the start of the turn where he moved there, because he ended up on 2
Yeah, so he would be down to 3.
You're down to 1 wound after the
You
smite.
just have to kill him in melee. With
Okay, so you would have to roll.
They have
for
now spent more time
the
figuring out the math of whether or not the
shooting
Scornlord
of
Skulls kills
obliterators
those
still,
models than
right?
Yeah, so I guess
like by an order of magnitude than it would have taken
you
to
have
roll
to
the
roll
dice.
for it,
We have
because
to
it's
roll
not
for it.
involved.
We have to roll
Yeah.
for it. Sorry.
So you,
Just in case you roll really bad.
at this point you didn't have any CP for Dower duty, so or the feel no pain. So
I guess we're not shooting
this
the
is hitting on
obliterators.
3s, re-rolling once.
Yeah, I think we were assuming the obliterators died to
And
the
the
guns.
6 is like the
And then
MOP
we were
was
just
in
rolling out
range
to
of him
see
at that
smite.
point.
Yeah. No question.
So the 2 extra go through, one of those.
I mean, what are they sitting on a 1+ save currently? Being fired out with a -2 gun?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not great odds. That
Threes.
Oh, that roll.
I
Yeah, that
guess
was a
I
bad
would
roll
have had
also.
to have rolled for
Infernal.
Infernal Power.
Yeah.
So shall I do that?
Yeah, I do, and I will try to do now.
And that's
Right.
we're just playing the game now.
I was
So
happy.
many
I was
factors
happy
going.
with
Should-
I was happy with that draw. You needed
Should
to.
we put that
That's
Demon
right.
Prince
I'm
back?
rolling too many dice.
I think we're assuming the Demon Prince is going to die to melee.
Did you
which is
just
fair. I don't
draw
think there's any way that-
patch?
So Infernal.
Alright,
you
we'll
can
shoot
either-
him.
But, I mean, this game has
Yeah.
been so many 1%ers in a row
Something.
that who knows?
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
So that means that doesn't go through. What would I have spent my CP on that turn?
I have no idea.
Probably. Well, it would have been a Demon Forge. It needs to happen. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd re-roll that.
Hmm.
Okay. And 1 extra shot. Re-roll then. Yeah.
Reroll.
Okay, cool.
Watch this just be like
So, yeah.
a giant pile of
So 9
5s.
of them went through.
Okay, 3 ups.
Oh wow! What
That
is
just
that
kills
save
them.
roll?
Alright,
Uh,
there you go.
6 failures. Okay, I'm happy with that.
Um,
And
Okay,
with
yep.
Resentment, because now you get grind them down.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, chat absolutely could have played the entire game out of this point. But we're just, I think are we good at 72 or 75?
These Nurglings would have been out here as well. So,
Yeah, of course. We're not going to.
Now we're talking about the Dragon.
so they, because that's the 7 inches.
Where
of
they
weapon.
don't do anything in the last turn, but give you the point for dominate, and we have already have the point for dominate.
Well, I needed to take your banner off here. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
For the end of the
Yeah,
game.
but we had this inside, so this is not the question.
Yeah, fair.
And you get enough out dominate, I think. I think you get enough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Looks fine.
Yeah.
Good. Phil, we have an end result. This was the dumbest game I had in a long time.
Thanks. I provided a dumb game. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think we joined that dumb game at exactly the right moment, where an obliterator almost soloed a Lord of Skulls.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
was-
combo, that's what I'm saying. The combo is really strong. And
Yeah, just roll all 5s on your flesh metal guns. That's the secret.
Yeah. That's true.
still, so I don't think I got not getting 3 charges I needed. They all like 5 inches, 4 inches. I think the highest was 6 inches with reroll. Was enough, I think, to cost me this game.
Well, it was exciting from our seat to watch at the end.
Oh, so like at least someone enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, we were
Oh,
we were
it's
freaking
like,
out when that obliterator sunk 9 into the Lord of Skulls.
yeah. I mean, I thought it's fine. I'll just be able to have more objectives for the rest of the game. There's no problem. But then you don't realise how close it is with the scoring.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have scored 15 in the next round.
Yeah, it's because you.
Demon Prince would have killed a lot of skulls and consolidated onto the objective. So we would have been at 2-2 again.
Well, there would have been a Demon Prince and a Master of Possession on that objective.
No, not
no.
at the start of your
Not the
turn.
start of the
Because
turn.
of
Yeah,
possession
that's
was
true. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have
That's
been.
true. Yeah. So that making that charge with the Demon Prince would have been a thing.
Yeah, when your Demon Prince would have charged my Demon Prince and most likely killed him.
Yeah, I think like obviously, yeah, it's really tight. I think second, there's no. I think with the list I picked, which is fucking terrible, but the list I picked, picking the second, I've realised that picking a third secondary with them is so difficult. Like, domination's not ideal. Grind them down isn't too bad, and assassinate sometimes can be okay.
So, Chad, I think the final score
my list is terrible.
Lose
So
the score on the overlay here, but I
but
think
I
the
don't
final
have to worry
score
about it
was
anymore,
it looked like
'cause
72
I'm probably
to Wolf
not going
Amiibo
through.
to 75.
Yeah, I
to
should have
Cryogenic.
just taken my Tyranids and then be done with this. Oh,
So that was the Lord of Skulls winning.
That's
by
all right.
3
You
points.
can still try and beat the old demons.
nah, for
You're
what?
bizarrely close.
For what?
Uh,
I think I will just grant Kennedy a free day and
I don't know.
of it. Or if Trevi demands, or if Liam demands that I play against him, I will do. But I don't think it makes a big difference. Trevi, does the seat, if you get first place or second place, make a big difference? Yes. Of course it does,
Yeah,
right?
the seed does matter because that will determine the bracket for the eliminations.
Yeah, when I think it would be unfair for Liam if I didn't play against me. So I will have to get slaughtered by the big ones.
Well, just consider this. Magnus is targetable in the same way that my guys are. So put your obliterators 1 inch back from that terrain and shoot the fuck out of him.
Is this not something you could have told me, but this is a rule before I put my...
Well, I was trying to tell you as we were playing,
I
and
didn't
as
like
we were
it.
positioning,
Yeah, you were
and
right.
I kept telling you over and over again. I was just like, are you sure you want to do that?
I was like, but I'm standing behind the wall. Yes, okay. If you want me to move them, I will move them over here. Okay. And was realizing, but now we're inside of one, and I was like, yeah, but the wall is with 3 men. The wall did better. So instead of untargetable obliterators that were able to shoot in the World of Skulls all game, I had 1 unit of obliterators the whole game, and the World of Skulls could target me the whole game. Oh,
it's because I think it's just the fact they managed to go through 2 units on my first turn was just that wasn't very nice for you. It's that I-core cannon, man. It's the I-core cannon.
It's always the I-core cannon. But still, you're a lot of Skulls surviving in the first turn, a lot of Skulls surviving in the second turn. That's also damn it.
True. All right. Well,
okay. Still,
luck,
thank you for the game.
Good luck to everyone in the tournament
was a
or
damn
whatever.
game.
As I said, even me winning that, obviously won't put me through. I don't think so, because I've lost my other 2 games. So.
Oh, but at least a lot of Skulls did win their last match. Can now ride happily into the sun.
Let's go off and write some better lists, mate. Let's go tear it up some. Let's get some better lists now.
Yeah.
Just theory craft an absolute brutal list and just do it.
Or maybe I will get in the mood and just kill, get me a win tomorrow and just kill these 2 big chickens.
Mate, to be honest, if you do that, I strongly believe that obliterators will rip through Nurglings.
Yeah, I should rip from them.
Especially with your combo. If you can down Magnus and that, I don't think...
but if I attack, he just puts him in reserve. If I don't attack, he just kills. So I don't know.
You leave my chickens alone.
I will not leave your chickens alone. Did you hear it? We will have to play the game. Okay. If you don't get, or you get Liam to tell me, but I don't need to play it when we don't have to.
You already played the hand, right?
You've got to get your screen in on point, mate. Screen.
Yeah, sure I have like 30 cultists. How many mortal wounds does Magnus do? 6 or so? Should be enough, right? More than 6?
Yeah, it's definitely not like 30.
7? Okay, 30. Yeah, well, I have 30
I
cultists,
disagree
so
with that.
Magnus needs to come to the side where all my 30 cultists are.
So is the smite thing still in play for tomorrow's game, as it's been FAQ?
Yeah, for the rest of the we're not going to use any of the newly released rules until the end of the
I have a
elimination games.
question about this. Trevi, I have a question about this
Uh-huh.
because I don't really understand. Because of course, Arn and Daniel built the list for the tournament.
Yeah.
So isn't it like the whole list idea dies in while the tournament is still going
So
on?
for the rules cutoff was was last Sunday for the eliminations, or for the group stage. So none of the rules post that are being used for the rest of the group stage.
Okay. So you declared it beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay. I just missed it in the rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thursday is the elimination rounds will start on Friday. Thursday, everyone will have a chance to resubmit their lists, and so at that point, we'll use the new FAQs. So for the rest of the group stages, we'll be playing as if the FAQs had not come out, and then for this weekend, we'll be playing with it.
Okay.
So can people completely change their list for the elimination stages then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
So mate, like I don't know actually if you
When I
can
would
go
have
through
been
that. If
more
I just
motivated. When I would have been a lot more motivated for this match. If I had
sorry, mate. I should have just said like, yeah, kill me, and then like you at least would have had a chance to go up, because I didn't. Whether I won or lost, I didn't have a chance.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter. I didn't matter either way because I looked up the points beforehand, and I would have needed to score max against you, I think. And I don't think I think I would have needed to. Well, maybe it would have been possible with all obliterators alive or something like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
45,
Yeah. Because of
10. Yeah. Would have been max points, I think, if we. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, good game anyway, mate.
Still, oh well, no, not a good game.
Oh. Oh well.
But a
Like,
fun
it's
game,
always,
nonetheless.
it's always fun playing you, mate. Well, actually, I don't think we've ever played before, so yeah. So yeah.
I think we played sometime.
Did we
some
play
of
a different list?
But I hated my list, I think.
Oh, you played something that you didn't like.
Yeah. I was like, here, please kill this. I think this was
Okay.
like this game. The indirect fire list. It was such. Oh, God damn it. I hated it.
I'm guessing I won. If that's how
I
you
don't
work.
know if you. Maybe you won.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 8th. Like I had a much higher chance of winning.
All right, so I think we're gonna wrap up the stream there, unless you have anything else to add, Shuma.
Nope. I think everything's been said.
Yeah, so that was a very silly end to that game.
Yeah.
But, congratulations on Phil for pulling that win. I think that does leave Phil only at 1 and 2, closing out this group, so he will most likely not be advancing. And leaves the result, I think, a little bit in the air. But I think it will probably be Daniel, Kennedy, and Lime Vissel graduating out of that group, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
We then only have a couple results to put in. I think Nick Rose and Dan Paolini will be advancing out of Group 1. We already have the results from Group 2. Group 4, it's all in Bethany Taylor's court. She's got one game against Jaime, and we'll see how that goes, and that will determine who advances out of Group 4. So it's going to be interesting, but for the most part, it looks like our top 8 is shaping up. So stay tuned for that, and we'll have some more list analysis of those top 8 lists coming later this week. And then obviously, the quarterfinals start Friday. We're going to try to start around Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, U.S. Eastern Time. Stay tuned at tts40k.com/invitational to get the streaming schedule that we'll be running on. And then Saturday will be the semifinals. We'll have 2 games streamed on Saturday, and then obviously grand finals on Sunday. So it's going to be sick.
I am excited to see it.
Yeah. yeah, it's going to be some insane games of 40K. Thanks everybody for joining us and watching. I hope everyone had a good time hanging out with us on stream, and we'll talk to you later.
Later, everybody.